Okay, here we go. So spawning down in the bottom right. I think I just lost the stream. Oh, okay, there it goes. We have the red Zerg. It is Eris. And in the top left, we have the aforementioned Sharpened Edge as the blue Protoss.
Yeah, Sharpened Edge and Eris, two very good bots. It'll be exciting to see what kind of strategies that Sharpened Edge will open with, as it does have like quite a range of builds, and some of them like can have success against Eris. They're like Eris is a bot that's always being tweaked, and tweaks can have almost unforeseen consequences. As you said, Ketrock, that like Sharpened Edge has got better on the ladder despite not receiving updates, which kind of shows if an author's focusing on different things, it can maybe impact their ranking against, say, a bot like Sharpened Edge that they're not thinking about necessarily. So, um,
Yeah. For instance, one of the bots Eris is probably most worried about would be -0, which is a Protoss. Or maybe cheese against someone like Zozo, which is also a Protoss. So maybe Eris switched up his EVP in a way that actually negative affected him against Sharpened Edge. You never know.
yeah, it's yeah, and it sort of circles back to that whole ladder sort of thing, just that your changes like can have unforeseen consequences because you play so many different matches, and you're not going to look at every single game your bot plays. So you sometimes miss little things that,
Mhm.
and yeah.
Yeah, and especially for a tournament, Eris might have made changes that he hasn't shown on ladder yet. So
Hmm.
yeah, keeping it close to the chest, we'll say, just for competitive reasons. So
Yeah, for those of you guys wondering, we do have we have had the bot authors have the option to submit updates for their bots. If and so I'm not sure, I doubt Sharpened Edge submitted one, but I know probably most of the other authors, maybe other than Annibbot, did as well, I'm guessing. So
yeah, so third base coming down now to Eris. It looks like it's almost complete. We got two gas going for Sharpened Edge here, and as somewhat of a wall off at the front line, although it's still pretty dangerous to a Ling Flood, at least for the time speaking. And a Robo on the way. So I'm going to guess we're going to see some patented Stalker Immortal play out of Sharpened Edge here.
yeah, its robo style can be very powerful. Um, like again, those sort of mid-game move outs can hit at timings that is that other bots maybe aren't prepared for. Uh, yeah. And guys, I did forget to say, if you're watching on the Twitch, make sure to follow the stream. If you're watching on YouTube, click that like button too. Share the word of good of more bots.
Yeah, and there the wall is now complete with a second gateway coming down. Charge on the way, actually, which is interesting. So we might be seeing some zealots in the mix. Crip, if you can mute your mic, I think it's picking up some of the game sounds here.
Yeah, the audio for the actual game sound seems a little strange. Like it seems sounds like it's playing through speakers or something, and we can hear it, but I'm
Yeah, maybe
not
it's
sure.
only us that can hear it, and maybe the stream is okay. But yeah, it was definitely the Crip mic was picking up the game sound. That's why we could hear some game sounds sometimes. Um. Anyways, we do have a batch of Lings on the map. Looks like they're keeping tabs on things, unless I saw that wrong. I might have seen it wrong. Maybe that's just an overlord.
Yeah, Eris just making a few lings. Well, quite a few, I guess.
Yeah, 14 on the way now. Yeah.
I don't know what 22 Zerg supply of plus queens works out to be in actual ling count, but yeah, We've got Sharpened Edge going for multiple gateways, getting up a Prism and Charge notably, because this is exciting because the games that Sharpened Edge has that looks really bad against Eris are games where it goes for things like Stalker Immortal, which just gets swarmed by Lings. Zealots, on the other hand, are much superior against, well, they do much better than Stalkers against Zerglings. So if
Yeah.
Sharpened Edge is going to have a successful timing, this is probably the composition to do it with. Eris has invested in that fourth base. It's just getting up a Hydra Den, building 70 plus drones, and now Sharpened Edge is just going for it with a 2 base timing attack. And we'll see if Eris can stop this or not. This is quite a bit of Protoss.
Yeah, this could actually work out if he stays on the offense. Looks like he's a little bit worried about the Zerglings on the other side of the map, though. The Zealots can do well versus the Lings, which means the Immortals will stay alive, and that means he has an answer to the Roaches as well. Another big warp in here. And yeah, Eris is not looking in good shape here. Lings might be doing some work on the other side of the map, but not that big of a deal with a wall off at the natural. Queen's going down here. Where are the Immortals, however? These Roaches are actually going to do okay versus the
Yeah, they might have
Zealot counts.
fallen back to deal with the Lings or something. Sharpened Edge sometimes splits up its army in funky ways. Yeah, we see the two Immortals
There's
kind
dancing on
of
the ramp.
hanging out back at home. I'm not sure there's an observer out either, as Eris has got these roaches, which can potentially just clean up these zealots if given enough time. And so while things looked a little bit scary, they are looking pretty good overall for Eris.
Yeah. War Prism only arriving now. Immortals still don't know where they are. I don't think they've died yet, but they've lost their buffer of zealots, which is what they really needed to get some work done here. Good batch of Roach Hydra here, which will work much better than the Zerglings against this composition. Roaches do very, very well versus Zealots. Probably the best thing in the Zerg repertoire for them. And Hydras are good against everything else, including including Immortals.
Yeah, the Immortals just kind of got leashed, it seems, by a couple of Lings of Eris, so they weren't there with the attack. And Sharpened Edge just, yeah, you can't make a timing attack work if you don't bring in your big damage dealers like the Immortals to back it up. So Eris is going to just do its Zerg thing and fooled by Sharpened Edge, good defensive behavior, but at this point, I think it's a little bit too late.
Yeah. Could have been a different story if when there was that big fight between the Zealots and the Roaches, if there was a couple of mortals behind doing their huge damage to the Roaches,
Yeah,
could have been much different scenario. Maybe he wins
that's
that fight. Maybe the Zealots move on to deny another base. Could have been interesting.
Yeah, and that's the thing that makes watching Sharpened Edge so fun because it's like, oh, like Eris is like top bot, but it's yeah, like Sharpened Edge got reasonably close, like a few tweaks maybe or something like that, and it's like, oh, maybe that timing would have worked, which is exciting. Um,
Of course, with Burrow and 4 bases, it still might not have worked out even in the best case scenario because there was a giant army flood of Eris coming. But yeah, it would have been interesting though if that initial attack just went perfectly for Sharpened Edge. With that said, though, it looks like we're seeing the final blow here as the next wave of Hydra Zergling comes in. I do like how his composition changes a little bit every time. Now he sees a lot of Stalkers and Immortals. He goes more Hydra Zergling. So
yeah,
nice adaptation there out of Eris.
Yeah, Eris's compositions really are something very impressive. Like, yeah, adding in the roaches against the zealots was really nice because if that was just like a stalker immortal timing, Eris would have just made lings, I think. So, really, really nice counter tables by the author, and well done to Eris, taking game number one.
Yeah, nice one there, Eris. Doing what Eris normally does. But yeah, no, it's a really good composition. I feel like that's designed to work against Protoss so well with the initial flood of things into the roaches there. Definitely something it's very good at.
Oh, apparently we're missing game audio. Did you catch that, Grip?
One sec. I will
Yeah, maybe
check.
just keep an eye on knobs when we start a game too.
Uh, yeah. Hold on one sec. Just check
So the
something.
commentators are hearing audio we shouldn't have, and the viewers didn't hear any audio at all.
Can we just split it up and like, it's all good. Don't know. It's strange.
Yeah,
Sometimes it
guys,
opts the desktop audio mutes automatically for me, so you can just double check that. Go
yeah,
ahead.
it's
Yeah.
quite strange. I think in like a recent update too, they must have tweaked some things because it doesn't just necessarily always pick up all desktop audio anymore.
Okay. That's very strange then, because I have it set to desktop audio, and it should pick it up. There's two audios coming through. Um, is there a way to make sure it does? One sec.
Let me rewind a bit and check. See if it's
Wait, if you just quiet for one moment, I'll just. Yeah, you're right. It's not picking up the SC2 audio
You
for
might
some
have to
reason.
create an audio source just to record your desktop. I had this problem with OBS a
Yeah,
while ago.
so I do have an audio source that's recording desktop audio.
Yeah, if you go into properties, it might just be like on default. You might have to select your like output device or whatever, like your headphones or something, for it to pick it up. Although if they're hearing us, that's
Yeah,
quite
so if
strange.
they're
Yeah.
hearing us, they should be hearing that as well. So, um,
that is weird.
Well, take your time. It's better to get these things fixed after the first game than
yeah,
Yeah, guys, thanks for tuning in to the round of 8. We have got the 4 matches being played out. So we just had our first game of Eris Sharpened Edge. They are all best of 5s. We're not sure if we'll get through them all today. We're just going to kind of take it as it comes. And then we'll be back next week for some more matches. So we've got Eris Sharpened Edge, our first best of 5 that we're already into, followed up by Zozo Tier. I've been perusing the bot authors' profile pages to see like who actually updates their bots and has potentially updated their bots. Like, so looking at the list, Avocados has definitely been getting some updates. Benbot, I don't believe Annibbot has. Tier has. Zozo hasn't had anything published to ladder in about a month, but I'm willing to bet the author cooked something up, as they're still quite active. And then -0 being a ladder version of the bot, so it'll be exciting to see.
one sec, sorry. If I could just have you quiet for 1 second, I will just check something. I am thinking, I think that's picking up now. Yes, it is. Okay, that's good. I will rewind this back to the start of the game, and we will be able to start the second game. So yay, I will just share that with you guys. And start then.
Okay, back into it. Awesome. So here we are in game 2. We have Eris up 1-0, and this is a best of 3. Is that right?
Best of 5, I think, right?
Best of 5. Okay, so yeah, up 1-0. We have Eris in the top right-hand corner of the map, and in the bottom left of Ultra Love, we have Sharpened Edge. So Sharpened Edge is a bot that does have multiple builds. I've never been able to discover its logic of when it changes builds and when it doesn't. Sometimes it'll just lose with the same build 3 times in a row. Sometimes it'll rotate builds when it's winning, and every combination other than that. So who knows? It could just be a random function.
Yeah. Its tournament builds really are, like you said, it's difficult to know. There's been periods where I've just quit casting Sharpened Edge games because every game has been a Tempest Rush, but now I haven't seen the Tempest Rush in like months, so
Yeah.
I don't know.
Tempest is one of those units that's extremely strong in the bot meta, but not so much versus Zerg. Zerg just has a lot of hit points worth of things, and Tempest do very little damage, so you can just like kind
Yeah.
of swarm the Protoss while the Tempest like tickle, and then the Protoss dies.
Late game Tempest, I think, don't have yeah, Zerg doesn't have a problem kind of countering that. I think like Tempest rushes, there's still potential to develop there more even just because like there's so many ways you can program the Tempest to behave. Like one bot on the ladder that's doing quite well. Oh gosh, the name escapes me. Argo bot. Like it's top 6 on the ladder right now. And it just I think it's what it does is 5 Tempest by 6 minutes or something like that. And it doesn't attack. But it's like, okay, why is it doing so well with a timing like like that, waiting so long with the Tempest? Like, you think Tempest Rush, you want to go in early, but not necessarily. Yeah. So there's lots of play that can be done there as far as like timings with the Tempest and just behavior.
Yeah, I mean, Sharkbot in the past has had success doing like proxy battery Tempest stuff, but I think with the bot meta, actually, the more Tempests you have, the more impossible it is to deal with them. So playing like a slow turtley build and slowly building up your Tempest force to something that's like unbeatable is actually a pretty neat strategy to use in the bot for bots.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely can be very strong and punish a lot of pathing behavior and that kind of thing. So there's just room to develop there more. I think if authors really wish to put in the work, it's undoubtedly a strong strategy. Not that I hope we necessarily get more Tempest.
Looks like we got a good amount of adepts here out of Sharpened Edge, which is interesting, but Eris is keeping tabs on it, so we do see 12 lings being built, but I have a feeling Eris won't stick with the mass lings, as if his counter tables really pan out that way.
Yeah, I feel like it's probably like a timing thing. Like, if it's like early adepts like this, making lings makes sense because you don't really have time to get out roaches. But if it does go on a while, you do want to get out roaches eventually. Eris is, yeah, just pumping out lots of lings. It doesn't even have speed just yet. The first few adepts are crossing the map. We'll see how Sharpened Edge uses them. That is a lot of lings for Eris, though, to handle these initial adepts. And Sharpened Edge is pushing on in. The lings are avoiding the engagement. Queens are able to pick off an adept.
Yeah. The adepts really wanted to shoot the Zerglings, but the Zerglings kept staying out of range, which meant the Queens just got free reign on the adepts there, taking out one of them. But yeah, nice retreats out of Sharpened Edge, pulling back home. Doesn't lose much, just the one adept. Have we seen Glaives get upgraded already? Or
no, this is just like one base, multiple gateway, slow adepts. Okay. And Eris has done the absolute correct thing with dealing with this so far. Like, don't engage until you have to because time is on your side. And then now it's producing Queens, drones.
Yeah, but his queen count must be up to like at least 6, probably more.
Yeah.
Which is a really good defense. Like you said, you can't get the roaches too early in the game, so Queens is like the go-to unit versus something like this.
Yeah, we do have a roach horn on the way now as well. So like Sharpened Edge is on a very hard clock here. And we just see like little quirks in the pathing as far as lots of waffling back and forth, maybe trying to group up its units or something like that. But the blue Protoss does need to go for this. This is a one base all in. It's got to win the game here, and it's going to try. And when you've got this many adepts, there's definitely a chance. Half of them do complete a shade into kind of a bad location. They're trying to kite back against the Ling, so they do get into a decent spot in the mineral patch. Meanwhile, most of the adepts and zealots are at the third base, causing trouble as Eris cleans up the ones in the natural.
Yeah, one major factor there is the Zerglings weren't keeping tabs on the count of adepts, so caught Eris a little bit off guard, the number of adepts he was facing. He was droning a lot during that time. And but this next flood of lings looks like it's going to be enough to deal with the adepts. If only they had glaives, then this could be a much different type of fight. Once again, Sharpened Edge is missing a couple pieces to make a really competitive match. In this case, just a single upgrade. Yeah.
Well,
Because
even
glaive
just
adepts are very strong versus Zerglings.
yeah, Eris's pathing is just so good at handling things like this. Where Sharpened Edge, there was some indecision with the adepts too. Like, I think this is another thing. Like, you could always play around with as an author, just be like, okay, what if I send 2 adepts towards the main and 2 to the natural and 2 to the third, and then push with the bulk of the army or something like that, to really try and break your opponent's pathing. Yeah, Sharpened Edge though, like it made the adepts, but it didn't quite execute properly to deal with so many lings and queens. And yeah, no glaives when you got 20 adepts is it's not great. So
yeah, especially when you're facing mass Zergling. Like the glaives wouldn't help versus the queens, but oh man, these Zerglings, I think they get 2-shot when you have glaives. So, well, what is glaives? The glaives doesn't actually increase the damage; it increases the attack speed, right?
Yeah,
okay, so it works.
Adepts
Helps
always
versus
2-shot
everything
lings.
equally. Yeah.
So we are going to get a Nexus.
Yeah, he'll try, but I think he had his one window, and the window is done. So Eris is deciding to kill rocks before he kills his prey.
Yeah, but, Eris is it's bulletproof against builds like this, basically.
Yeah. Nice redundancy out of Sharpened Edge though to try to transition into a mid game against a lesser box bot. There could be hope.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of that.
Eris, probably less so.
Yeah, it's just that like Eris's author is more active and has undoubtedly seen their bot perform against builds like this hundreds of times. So it would have been quite a surprise if a year-old build from Sharpened Edge was able to bring down Eris.
So 4th base on the way for Eris. Looks like he stopped attacking rocks. Does that mean he's actually going to go on the offense here? Does find a stalker, able to pick that up quickly and then run away. Decides to take the free full surround on the adepts. I don't blame him.
Yeah, lots of lings being traded out against the zealots.
I think that's okay to trade somewhat evenly versus the zealots when you're up 4 bases to 1 or 4 bases to 2 now, I guess.
Yeah, Eris could potentially just pull the drones and kill Sharpened Edge with its 77 drones at this point. I mean, if we think back to the earlier rounds, Sharpened Edge, it did have a game where it macroed out. I think it was against Xena's Zerg. And then it was able to get to like that mid-game Colossus composition and pull off a miracle, basically. So it is cool to see that Sharpened Edge is trying to play this one out, and Eris is just chilling, giving it a little bit of time while the Zerg gets up its 1/1, its infestation pit, tons and tons of drones.
Yeah, Colossus is one of those units that gives Zerg a lot of trouble. Their ability, kind of like a miniature version of the Tempest, as they can kind of kite from that long distance range that the Colossus have, which is what, like 9 range, I think. It's not uncommon in bot games to see Colossus get up to like 40-50 kills before they die. So there is some units that could be really cost effective for Sharpened Edge and give him some hope. But I don't think he's going to get the opportunity to get to Colossus because here comes a big attack out of Eris.
Yeah, Eris is maxed out with 98 drones in its pocket. Sharpened Edge is on 2 bases. It might get some good trades on the defense up this ramp, although I think some of its units are in the main base distracted by the Overseer still, so yeah.
Yeah. Maybe a small chance Sharpened Edge holds this one attack. He's definitely going to lose his natural base in the process, though. And I don't even think he has enough here. Depends if that Immortal lives for a long time, and being stuck on the low ground, I don't think it's going to.
Yeah. Eris the monster is able to take down
ramp.
Sharpened Edge in the second game.
You don't see force fields used too often, so there's a nice little ramp force field. We kind of miss the center of the ramp, but it's hard for bots to even know where the center of a ramp is.
I wonder if that's built into the Sharpie framework. Like if you built a Sharpie bot, if it would just naturally force field the ramp with this entry if the conditions were right.
Yeah, could be. I know Tyr in the past with his Protoss bot has tried to use sentries kind of like Wings of Liberty style, where you create like giant walls of force fields, but anything terrain related is usually very difficult for bots. Mm-hmm. Yep, so 2-0 now for Eris. Probably to no one's surprise. As you said, this is probably the one matchup today that's least likely to have any shockers, you know.
Apparently you're muted on the stream, Crypt.
Oh, damn. Okay, sorry about that. I now have to mute myself on stream and then on Discord, so it's like trying to unmute everything. So yeah. Right. Okay. Give me 1 second. I'll just get the third game up. Yes, I was saying, like, in terms of matchups, definitely Eris has played more against Sharpened Edge than any other bot on the ladder, which is probably gives it some nice amount of data to go on, really. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
All
they've
right.
both been around for many, many years. They're both usually in the Division 1 of the ladder, so I'm sure they've played tens of thousands of games against each other at this point.
Is my mic still picking up game sounds on the game, or is that
No,
sorted?
we
I didn't hear
didn't
that.
hear anything last game.
Ah, that's good. Good. Sort that one. Yes, I thought I'd mute both. So
You didn't have audio going through like your speakers or anything, did you? Or it was just through your headset? Because it was weird how that was being picked up. But anyway,
Yeah, when I heard the game sound, I could see Crip's outline flashing, like as if he was speaking. So pretty sure his mic was just picking up the game sound somehow.
all right. Okay.
I
Sorry.
did.
Just sorting out some OBS issues. 1 sec.
Yep.
Okay. I think we are good to go with game number 3.
I did check the Eris Sharpened Edge results for this season. It's got 3 wins.
Oh,
That's
couldn't
all.
say any
That's
many
all.
losses, but 3 wins.
I'm not going to say how many losses, but 3 wins is all you need to win a best of 5. So.
All right, so Eris this time is up in the top left, and we're on Meganatha. Meanwhile, down in the bottom right, we have Sharpened Edge. For a minute there, I thought the minimap was all purple. I'm like, I know bots spread creep really quick, but 26 seconds in the game would be something different.
Okay. So we'll see what build Sharpened Edge goes for this game. We do get a low ground pylon as Protoss should wall against Zerg. That's one thing that's very impressive for Sharpened Edge being a bot that doesn't get tons of updates. Its walls are usually pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of Python bots, if they're creating walls so they're natural, it could definitely be because of Sharpened Edge. I think he built an algorithm for it and then put it into both this bot and the Sharpie framework.
Yeah, it's quite a good algorithm.
Or it might be hard-coded. I don't know.
Uh,
Usually if the wall looks too good at the natural, it's probably hard-coded.
I think it's just got to be an algorithm because like the bot hasn't been updated since we changed maps. So
Yeah, that's true.
maybe I'm wrong, but
Yeah, there's interesting videos someone put out a long time ago from our community on raid tracing, I guess. It's probably worth googling. It's gives it really in depth of like how difficult it is to for bots to determine anything about terrain, and now he solved that issue with this type of scanning, basically, called ray tracing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's always interesting.
Too, so it makes for a good video.
It's always interesting to see how authors, do try and tackle like building placement and handling terrain, because it's not an easy thing to do. Nice wall from Sharpened Edge. It's got a stalker on the way with its second gateway completing that wall. No tech yet, but it should be coming out soon.
Yep, I'm getting flashbacks to game 1 here with the wall off and the quick expansion. And I don't mind that at all, because I think Sharpened Edge had some definite chances to win in game 1, or at least some chances to make it look good. Meanwhile, Eris is just holding down that drone key and doing all that speed mining, all the good stuff that bots are good at.
As Eris does. I really like how Eris manages like its gas income though. The author is like, you'll almost never look at an Eris game and be like, wow, the author wasn't very efficient with their resource management. Like, no, like it pulls out a gas at the perfect time. It takes its geysers all at the right time, just to absolutely maximize the mineral income as the priority, so then it can just do that Zerg boom.
Yeah, that's something cool that bots can do that humans can't really. You're not going to like be on 8 gas geysers and say, let me switch all my gas geysers to 2 on gas now instead of 3. It's like, it just takes way too many actions for a human. But for bot, we can build algorithms for that. We can look at our gas income and our gas bank, and then just decide how much workers we want dedicated to gas at that moment in time. So we can constantly be changing how many we have in each gas geyser. Looks like we do have an Overlord that will go down. So nice little pick off here for Sharpened Edge.
And it is a Void Ray Glaive build from Sharpened Edge, showing us just such a wide range of builds already in this best of 3. And getting the early Overlord is, I think it's got to be the biggest factor in games I ever see of Eris losing. It's when it loses an early Overlord. It has a bit of a tougher time just because it does interrupt that macro boom a little bit. Now, it wasn't like the first Overlord that died. It was a bit of a later one, so not the biggest deal, but still nice.
Yeah, if you play StarCraft 2, that's a big deal for Zerg players as well. Something you need to not underestimate. If you can kill an early Overlord, it really messes up their ability to explode their economy. And Zerg is all about, just ramping up that early economy.
Okay, Sharpened Edge going for Void Rays and Gateway units. Glaives, Glaive Adepts, but also mixing in the odd Zealot here and there.
I don't mind that. Looks like even taking a third base here. Or wanting to take a third base. There might be a Broad Zergling. Something is on the map there,
Yeah.
Which is going to be difficult, because I don't think he has a robotics facility yet, so...
No. This has been an area that Sharpened Edge has struggled a little bit with at times. It's just the blocked expansions by the Zerglings. Like, it deals with it usually, but there are games where it takes quite a while or never gets there because other things are going on, so... I honestly think the best move is for Sharpened Edge to probably get aggressive sooner rather than later. Eris is producing Hydras to counter those Void Rays, still adding up that Queen count.
Yeah, +1 on the way. We do have Charge as well. It's a little interesting, and there's kind of a mix for the Gateway units. I would have liked to see like full committal to the Glaive Adepts or full committal to the Charge lots, but... a little half and half going on right now. Even a few stalkers to deal with some air units.
Yeah, look at Eris's pathing. It's like, oh, I can get that stalker.
Yep.
And another one even. Oh, but then it retreats when it realizes it can't. Just so impressive.
Yeah. Even the way the Zerglings like run around the map is really interesting to me. I'm not quite sure how he does that. He must have split the map into like zones and have like, because it'll find like different ways to get around behind the enemy. It's not just like running from his base to the enemy base.
Yeah, it might just be like the natural pathing or whatever, because like the worker pathing of Eris is really good too. Like the drones will actually avoid a threat to get to a base. So maybe like tracking the enemy units or something and then That just impacts the pathing. Sharpened Edge is trying to get aggressive. We see that little bit of waffling where it's like, oh, do I attack? Don't I attack? It's going in though. And it's very important that it gets some damage done here, as it still is on these two bases. There's quite a few Void Rays, as the Hydras and Charge Lots can do quite, or pardon me, the Adepts and Charge Lots can do quite nicely against the Hydras. There's that Queen Backbone for Eris in the back. Void Rays poking forward, Prismatic Alignment activated, as the Protoss is going for it. Roaches are able to burrow, though, since there is no Observer.
Yeah, just not quite enough done by those Void Rays. I would have loved to see them take out a whole ton of Roaches. Then these Adepts and Zealots could actually do okay versus the Queens and Hydras. But once again, Burrow being the nemesis of Sharpened Edge.
Yeah.
Even with Prismatic Alignment, he was able to burrow those Roaches before they would die. So the Roach count stayed very high. And Roaches do very well versus Adepts and Zealots.
Eris getting aggressive after that defense immediately. Not waiting till it even got maxed out to turn things around on Sharpened Edge. Just very impressive behavior when it comes to deciding when to attack. As we see, it kills the doorman and then can pretty much just run away with this one, although the units do kind of scatter, afraid of the Void Ray, it seems.
Yeah, I think when he lost his last Hydralisk, he decided, you know, technically one Void Ray can kill 25 Roaches, so maybe I should flee my 25 Roaches.
Yeah, that's kind of funny, because there have been games where Eris has killed like strictly air armies with just Roaches. I'm not sure if it does it anymore, but like it comes to mind like pulling it played against like a just battle cruiser bot. It would just be like, all right, 200 Roach max out, and I'm gonna kill all your buildings and workers. Hydra's trying to bring down the Void Rays. Prismatic Alignment unfortunately doesn't help the Void Rays. Probes are pulled into the Roaches. Yeah, it's just a slow death, unfortunately, for Sharpened Edge.
Yeah, still not quite enough to kill the Void, so he still has 3 alive. There's maybe 1 fungal remaining, but other than that, there's no anti-air. So, does get his main base, or natural base gutted. The probe pull in the main base is going to gut even more probes, so there's not going to be much of a follow-up for Sharpened Edge, but at least he'll die slightly slower with all these Voids. Spore Forest. I think that's a late game strategy for Eris, where he builds offensive Spore Crawlers. And there we have it. Eris taking it down 3-0. So a nice little quick one out of Eris.
Yeah, nice 3-0 there. That's yeah, what we expected really. It would have been a massive shock had Sharpened Edge taken 3 games off of Eris. Yeah, no, it was a good show at least. And Sharpened Edge still proving that he can mix it with the big boys even after this long. So yeah.
Yep, solid round of 8 finish for Sharpened Edge. Yeah, I don't think anyone's surprised by that result. And so.
Okay, so next up, we have Benbot BC. Kind of taken out Kananana and Xena and GPT on the way here with his only loss against -0. So doing okay so far, Benbot BC. Not just his BCs.
Yeah, I really like Benbot BC. He's been around for so long, and you can't notice the bot get better over short periods of time, but it's just slow incremental changes, and it's just become from like a middle of the road bot to like barely qualifying to being like the middle of the pack in a tournament to now being like the best Terran out there and a real threat of winning the whole thing. So
yeah, definitely
super impressive.
Up against Annibbot, another bot that hasn't really been updated a lot, but has just kind of like shot up and again making a splash in the tournaments, which is always good to see.
Yeah, Annibbot kind of just reemerged, like sometime within the past year. Maybe got like an update or two, and then shook up the scene a little bit because they were beating some of the top bots for a little bit, and definitely forced some updates from the other authors. And now they're here in the round of 8. So
Yeah, always good to see. And Savalas, again, a really great author and been really great for the scene. And would be good to see him back and doing well. So, yeah. Um, all right. I will just get the game loaded up in just one moment. All right. And we are go.
Okay, spawning up in the top right-hand corner of ley lines, we have the red Terran. It is Benbot BC. And down in the bottom left, we have the blue Terran. It's Annibbot. And going for bioplay, which is interesting. I know Annie's usually a big fan of the mech stuff, the nukes, the Thors, those sort of things. But bio could be interesting as well.
yeah, Annibbot is a bot that really does it all. Its builds are very distinct. That's one of the things that kind of differentiates it a bit from some of the other bots. Like Benbot has a very distinct style. Like it might build a little more Marines or Marauders to buffer in like certain matchups, but in in this match it is Annibbot that will be going for the hard bio and starting off with a proxy Rax against Benbot in a twist of fate. Benbot, the bot that usually always goes for the proxy Rax, is on the receiving end this time.
Yeah, Benbot does like to scout, maybe too much with his early workers. So, but in this case, it might probably end up paying off, as he will soon be spotting that barracks. I assume right after he checks the space here, he should come back. Yeah. So, what will the reaction be? Oh my gosh, he will scout it, right? Oh, just the corner.
Yeah.
That was close.
Good programming. The SCV is programmed to attack the SCV of Annibbot. Unfortunately, it doesn't finish or doesn't see it in time because a delay or a cancel on that Rax would have been a big deal. Benbot, though, is immediately throwing up a wall on the low ground, even sending out its Marine to go and try and attack this proxy.
Yeah, it looks like Benbot's barracks finished first, and Annibbot is going to be behind both Marine count and have a bunker waiting for him if he does get aggressive.
Yeah, these are Reapers being produced, and there is a cliff here on Leyline, so the Reaper can potentially just dart up into the main base and start sowing some chaos as it
totally
heads towards the mineral line.
I just assumed it was Marines giving bots, but yeah, this is finding some nice little damage here, although he's spreading out the damage among multiple workers. I guess at least against Terran, it's permanent, so the damage, unless...
Okay, the Reaper is skirmishing with the Marine. That's a big deal if it can actually kill it. Does preserve or prioritize trying to escape. Oh, that Reaper is cornered.
Yeah, and he's probably afraid of the bunker, even though it's empty.
Yeah, I was gonna say that too. Makes it back into the main though. There's presumably other Reapers out on the map at this point too. Maybe around that barracks or something like that. Good pathing on the Reaper from Annibbot though.
Yeah, he's getting a lot of hit points back here. Has he lost a second Reaper though on the low ground? I'm not sure what's happened with the barracks. The barracks does die.
And that one gets cornered too. So Benbot cleans up all but one of the Reapers, I think.
Yep. Interesting is Benbot builds a secondary wall to prevent the Reaper jump. I like that.
Yeah, that's very smart. And the author is able to shut this down.
Yeah, so we didn't get to see it, but I assume that Benbot BC probably cleaned up the Fallout Reapers very well with that wall off and the Marines in the low ground. And Annibbot's Reaper that we were watching, I don't think it really killed anything, did it? It got a lot of damage done. I think it probably did like 200 hit points of damage, but I don't think it killed much. A couple of Marines died, probably in the low ground to the follow-up Reapers. But 4 Reapers died. Yeah, we missed 3 of them, or 2 of them, I mean.
I don't even think it got close, because I think even if those SCVs did get low enough in HP, Benbot might have even repaired them. I'm not.
Yeah.
I can't recall if that's a feature that Benbot does, but
Or if you just retreat them. Like if the
Yeah.
Reapers aren't committing to dive on them, then they're just shooting whatever SCVs in range, then like I know
Yeah.
with my mineral line, if a Reaper runs through, only my SCVs that are within a 2-shot of death will run away. So
That-
I'll always leave my fresh SCVs there for him to pick away at them. But
yeah, that's probably the right decision, because it's very apparent when a bot overreacts to something like a single Reaper in the mineral line, which I want to say Benbot didn't do. It just kept its SCVs cool, calm, and collected, and they kept mining while the Marines cleaned things up. We do have a bit of an even economic situation right now, as Annibbot did get up its command center on the low ground. Benbot's own CC was delayed a little bit, so 2 base to 2 bases right now. Benbot's got a little bit of an army supply lead, as it didn't lose 4 Reapers early on in the game. Annibbot's looking to start up a 3rd base, dropping its scan on that location. That's how the author addressed the burrowed Zergling / Widowmine / any unit that could block a base. It's a little bit redundant in a TVT, I'd say, for the most part. But it's basically a guaranteed way to ensure the expansion gets up. No like secondary check to be like, oh, that is blocked, and then have to try and resume building it. Yeah.
yeah, I think oftentimes we'll build like a generic way to take an expansion that would deal with creep or burrowed Zergling or an actual army unit there, or like all the different scenarios of like why you can't take a base. So having a scan available and a good clump of your army at a base is a nice way to guarantee you'll get it down. Looks like he does get denied a little bit of time there. So
that's quite nice. Annibbot will need to get another SCV over there to resume building that. The SCV, it looks like it came from the main base. There may be an attempt at a 4th base starting for Annibbot soon. Benbot, meanwhile, is already producing its first battle cruiser, getting Yamato cannon. The Red Terran bot did construct its command center inside its main base, so it's losing a little bit of time just having to float that over. But again, it delayed the 3rd of Annibbot a tiny bit, so the timing's actually very close.
yeah, absolutely. Annibbot does have a decent number of Marines, but not the best answer to battlecruisers, actually. BCs are pretty good fighting the ground units, so then, of course, the terrain, you may not even have to fight the Marines, so you can just kind of just retreat and collect kills. So if he teleports in his first BC, I could see it doing quite well.
That, the interaction between them is, it's very apparent. Marines against battle cruisers, because battle cruisers actually have the 1 more range than the Marines, so the Marines constantly have to move up and try and shoot the BC, and then the BC pulls back, and the Marines will get like a shot off, which is no damage, and then before they have to move forward again. So
I mean, stim is going to complete, so there is that potential to like stim in a clump of Marines and quickly gun down a BC, so it can't like dance and get all that free damage. But that's usually not something a bot does very well.
Yeah, we've yet to see a bot sort of handle like one individual unit and stim against that properly. Like Wicked Bot comes to mind. There's definitely quite a few Terran bots that'll just be like, oh, there's one enemy unit, just stim a few of the Marines to try and chase it, so you don't stim your whole army trying to catch a single unit. But yeah, that's exactly what you want to do against a battle cruiser, is stim the Marines under it and force it out, or to even kill it potentially. It's not easy to do, though, just due to that high HP. There's lots of wiggle room for the battle cruisers to escape, which is why you'd usually want to transition to your own air to deal with the battle cruisers. I'm not sure if any bot will do that, as it is just pumping hard on the bio. Up at 4 bases already, which is giving it it will give it a bit of an economic lead that it will need to overcome the more likely, more efficient composition of Benbot. Benbot's moving out, actually, with a bit of a strange army heading towards the 4th base of Annibbot. Annibbot's going to have to respond to this. Just a group of Marines and Hellions with a couple of Vikings in the sky and one battle cruiser.
Yeah, but these Liberators don't really have the ground support. At least the ground support's afraid at the moment, so... yeah, a couple free Liberator kills is very nice for Benbot BC there.
Yeah, and the Marines are quite afraid. I wonder if they were trying to support the tanks or something to not get too far ahead of the tanks that were sieged up in the back.
That was probably it. Yeah, I think you're right. I
And
was
so
a little shocked
that,
that like 3 Marines were willing to fight the BC, but the other 25 were like, nah.
Yeah, big time slacking from the Marines of Annibbot. Annibbot still got a supply lead, however now its main base is going to be disrupted by not one, but 2 battle cruisers. And there we can see the range of the BCs against the Marine in full effect. Marines just feeding themselves into the grinder. That's incredibly painful. Annibbot's building more Liberators at this point in the game, where it really needs Vikings. And oh no, all the Marines are coming in. Do not, oh no. Oh, this is terrible.
End of this too. I went to the Marine All-In versus, I think it was Sharkbot, and he had like 1 Tempest over terrain like this and slowly killed like 200 Marines.
Yeah, this is terrible. This is the pain of programming, guys. As that one range difference is being exploited hard. Annibbot is at least producing a Viking, but the Yamato cannons keep popping off, so like a single Viking won't solve this. This is so painful for Annibbot.
Yeah, even poking forward to get a Yamato when it can, picking off a Medevac or a Liberator. Alright, let's click on some battle cruisers. Let's see some kill counts here, Crip.
Oh my god. 28, 10. Oh,
they're all triple digit at the moment, with one of them at 28.
The one Viking just gets deleted. Annibbot's at least producing 3 at a time, but this is disgusting cost efficiency.
Yeah. And I believe now that
Vikings.
Benbot's seen a Viking, that he's going to be start saving his Yamatos for the Vikings.
Yeah,
but
these Vikings are getting
Yamatos
shots off. So one
Yamato?
BC gets forced out.
I think he Yamato'd a Marine, if I saw that right.
Huh.
So yeah, so actually these Vikings are going to slowly do the job.
Okay,
I mean,
that's good. Yeah, and Benbot shouldn't teleport any more BCs in like that now that it has seen there is actual anti-air from Annibbot as well. That's one of the choices the author has made to prevent BCs going into risky situations like that. Now, Annibbot has to defend at the front against a high siege tank count of Benbot.
Yeah, Bio does kind of go up on its own to die, but okay, tanks are heading back. I was about to say, the tanks actually had a pretty nice position there with the rocks and the structures creating a bit of a choke point. I could see those Marines having a lot of trouble actually diving on 5 tanks, even without any protection.
Benbot's going to try once more as well. Annibbot's got its bio just chilling at the back, but afraid to engage in, which is probably saving their lives against this many siege tanks. Vikings are coming forward. Yamato cannons are being dumped into them. I think there's probably going to be a few Vikings that survive, but Annibbot loses most of its anti-air. Loses those production structures at the front. Benbot's maxed out. Annibbot's maxed out. And the Terran is trying to defend, or the blue Terran's trying to defend with just bio against a very strong mech composition. Nice push in by Benbot, shuffling the tanks forward, using the battle cruisers to defend them. And yeah, Annibbot is just... I doubt this bio style was designed to counterplay against tank battle cruiser like this.
Yeah, this cost efficiency is absolutely insane.
Yeah, can we get a shift L to see the resources lost?
Yeah,
Okay,
so lost under 3,000, killed over 16,000 resources. Solid 5.5 to 1.
Oh, there's stuck tanks for Annibbot too. I'm wondering if that's why the bio's hanging back in the main. Yeah, all those tanks are stuck. The bio's probably trying to group with the tanks. Oh, yeah, we see they could have even grabbed those tanks there, but then they pull back once the tank siege. They're going to go in, and then the tank siege, then they pull back.
Yeah, nice jumping right into the dead zone of the tanks. I like that with the Marauders and the Marines. Every time Benbot unsieges, there's a potential for him to get jumped.
Yeah, there was like, it's weird how not like all the units went, but just like a handful of them. It seems that like some of them are not in like the core group or something like that, and they're the ones that are actually going for it.
Yeah, I think it's just a decision made when he sees the tank turn into a siege tank. As soon as he sees the siege up, it's like, is it easier for me to run out of range, or is it easier for me to run into the dead zone? And the ones in the front, so like, we'll go into the dead zone. But the Marines are not as smart versus the Valkyries, that's definitely for sure.
Yeah. A slow death here for Annibbot. Well done by Benbot, as it will take this one. It was impressive how Annibbot was able to sustain such ridiculous losses for so long. It had a really nice economy. And I'd have honestly been really curious to see how this plays out without those tanks caught in the main base, whether Annibbot maybe would have been a bit more aggressive or something. That classic Terran bot struggles, getting the tanks caught inside the main base.
Yeah. Third base is being attacked now for Benbot BC. Once that happens, I think this constant Marine production will probably slow, and the game will come to an end. Yeah, third base is taking off, and we actually got a GG out of Annibbot. Very nice.
Yeah, very nicely played there by Benbot BC. And one of the few bots that does actually GG there is Annibbot. So yeah, nice one there. All right, let's take a look at game number 2. Benbot taking the 1-0 lead, but obviously this is a best of 5, so anything can happen still. In just one moment.
Yeah, those Marines were not shooting the BCs at all. JS, it was they were afraid to step into the range of the tank, which meant they're just constantly hovering inside the range of the battle cruisers, but not inside the range of the tank, which is why they got
very
slaughtered.
painful.
Yeah.
Yeah, not great, really. All right, let's go.
It's one of those things I imagine you look at as an author and you're like, well, that's going to be a lot of work to try and solve.
Yeah, because on their own they both kind of make sense, right? Like,
yeah,
dive the battle cruisers, that makes sense, and also don't go into siege tank range. That also makes sense. But if you do them both at the same time, you end up just hovering back and forth, getting slaughtered by battle cruisers. Anyways, now Benbot is up 1-0, and he's spawning down in the bottom left of Persephone. This is a vertical spawn map, so we have Annibbot in the top left. And I didn't catch the chat, but let's see if Annibbot's going to try bio yet again or not. Looks like it.
Huh. Well, it might not get its units stuck this game, so that would be quite an improvement.
Yeah, and it looks like the Reaper Rush is going to be cancelled, I would assume, as soon as this SCV goes down. Or is he going to pull another SCV and try it? Oh, it looks like he's sending out another one.
Oh,
okay,
no.
This might not be great for Annibbot. Okay, no, there's
a
full cancel, but he's still committing to it. Honestly, this is probably better than trying to continue building the other one. It might go unnoticed. We'll have to see. It'll be very late, but...
Yeah, there are times where you want to resume and times where you want to cut it and just cut your losses. So I guess Annibbot going for redundancy with multiple wrecks and tries to get that one up again while also building one in the main base.
Yeah, I mean, I could see a world where he keeps sending an SCV and the SCV keeps dying. So the fact that he canceled the barracks means this second Rax is getting up unspotted. I don't obviously like the timing of it, but at least it'll complete. So something will happen for Annibbot, whether it be good or bad. Probably bad. That high ground structure is not close enough to spot it, so Benbot is still in the dark. But now his scouting SCV I did say Benbot goes too hard on with the scouting, but this is one of those cases where it worked out for him. He might even get the cancel. No, oh no, not quite. But it does get the SCV at least.
Yeah, and look at that. The Marines attacking the racks already.
Yeah, and actually no Reapers being built from that rack, so
it's quite a decision from Benbot to run the Marines out against Arax, because it's like, if it was like a harder all in, it could turn bad. I'm curious, like, if it does this, if it spots like a proxy gateway or something, or if this is just like a TVT, send the Marines out against the single proxy.
Yeah, Zozo's author's already taking notes on this. It's like, oh, I found a new way to abuse Benbot. Yeah, as a human player, like, it's risky to send out your only Marines away from the bunker when you're being proxied. But it does get the barracks kill. Not the end of the world for Annibbot. I mean, obviously he wasn't even producing from it. He has a barracks at home and an expansion on the way. Another Reaper wall built for Benbot BC, so the jump in is blocked off.
Yeah, that's a really nice move by the author. Reaper of Annibbot trying to grab that SCV. Forcing a raise on the depots, now trying to make it to the main, but it will never get there. Thanks to that wall.
But he keeps going back that direction because the Reaper knows that the
and the depot keeps
opened.
lowering.
Yeah.
So.
Handful of Marines pushing across the map. Could potentially deny a third base if one's going up, and even the natural. It's not looking a good spot right here for Annibbot. Just the one Marine is going to have to deal with a whole ton out of Benbot PC. This is actually big trouble for Annibbot. I like this aggression out of Benbot. Kind of out of character for him, but it's going to work.
It kind of really goes against what Benbot usually does.
Yeah.
In that, like, you think like, oh, Benbot, Turtlebot. No, it does go for little move outs like this, and it is having great success as Annibbot's natural is in a lot of trouble. Annibbot may get up to production to deal with this. It's got a Liberator about to pop out, which could potentially help against the Marines. This is tons of damage getting done by Benbot off the back of an already nice opening.
Liberator does arrive though, and that will save the natural base from falling at least. Final Marine does go down. And it's hard to tell what Benbot's up to. Half his army's retreating. Siege tank's still like, I got this. Liberator will do very well versus a siege tank, I would assume, with no air support. Liberator not really wanting to defend though, just patrolling back and forth between the main and natural. Here he goes.
Okay, Liberator's sieging up. Will kill the tank. Annibbot does fire up a third command center.
Yeah, third base almost done though for Benbot BC. He'll be floating that out momentarily.
Oh, and a nice cancel. The Hellion of Benbot able to force a cancel from Annibbot.
And that Hellion ran into 2 liberation circles and somehow survived. Before the second shot came, the Liberator actually unsieged and allowed that Hellion to survive so that he could stay into the future and get a nice little cancel on the command center. Meanwhile, Annibbot decides to take a corner base, so...
Oh, is the Hellion going to find that too? It's darting around at the 3 o'clock position.
I think it might. There's another unit for Annibbot going over there, though, so maybe he's doing this thing like the patrolling Marines. No, it's just a Liberator.
Huh. Oh.
So I guess when his Liberators aren't active, it just patrols between all of his bases. Because we saw it patrolling between his main and natural early on. Now they're patrolling between the natural third and even the untaken 4th base.
Yeah. What's your opinion on having like Liberator harassment? Do you think that it's something that like more bot authors should try, or is it pretty easily counterable? Or
I like it versus less complete bots. I like it versus humans. Versus strong bots, though, they can see the liberation circle the moment you place it, and
okay,
so there's a good chance I won't do any damage. But I could be wrong about that. I mean, I love my ravens, but I never made a mass raven in my bot until I saw another bot author do it, because I thought auto turrets would be worthless. I thought as soon as you place an auto turret, your opponent would just pull away, let it expire, and then continue.
yeah,
But they actually work out quite well, so I could be completely wrong about liberators too. The other thing is if you put a liberator circle on a mineral line and your opponent doesn't deal with it quickly, just the lost mining time could be gigantic.
yeah. That's what I'm thinking of, because like advanced ballistic liberators, like it's kind of weird how they just disappeared from like the pro meta, and well, I guess they've just recently had their vision nerf, which I don't think is in this patch for the bots. But like they had like their radius, was it their radius that was decreased or something? But like
Yeah.
advanced ballistics was still gave them like the ability to shoot incredibly far and shut down mineral lines. I guess just pros got good at dealing with it.
It was actually shut down by the map makers, which I didn't really agree with, because it wasn't that strong of a build, because it requires a fusion core and an expensive upgrade. But map makers
Yeah.
changed it so there was never a spot where you could like set up a liberator in range of a mineral patch that couldn't be killed by a queen or a stalker.
Okay.
Way back
Even
in the
with
day,
advanced ballistics, eh?
yeah, and even on like third bases and fourth bases, they took those spots away.
Huh.
But it used to be interesting. Like it used to be like with advanced ballistics, you used to be able to like do a long range just where you could just touch just the edge of one mineral patch, and your
Yeah.
opponent would actually require an air unit to deal with it.
Yes,
deal
I
with
remember
Dooges.
Zerg's needing the 3 Ravagers to deal with it, or Protoss, yeah, needing like a Phoenix or something.
Zerg got more options because I think Queen's got a up to their anti-air range, and spores can also work because spores don't get hurt by
Yeah.
liberation circles. But for
Okay.
Protoss, for instance, like a stalker wouldn't work. You'd have to build a Phoenix or something along those lines.
So Annibbot's on the receiving end, the battle cruiser's in its base again. It doesn't have that many Marines this time to even suicide. Oh, there they come, as they are going to try and drive these battle cruisers out.
Here we go again.
But there's Benbot abusing the range once more. Oh, this is painful.
Yeah. I mean, a lot to keep the Marine losses. Yeah, stream
Maybe
was
just
dead.
pause the game if you haven't already.
Yeah, I've paused the game, so I don't know if I think we're back.
Oh, yeah, live stream is coming back. It looks like Discord stream.
Ah, okay.
I see your camera, so I assume the Discord stream will be fine. So yeah, probably
Yeah.
fine to try starting it.
Twitch and YouTube look good. Yeah, we're just making the death of all these Marines a little bit more dramatic. And that's the last one. So, time to start attacking some probes, I guess. First Viking is out now, at least. I don't think there's any Avocados available at the moment.
Yeah, if there's a Yamato to kill that Viking, this could go on a lot longer.
Oh, but he steps forward. Eesh.
Oh dear.
you don't have to do that with Vikings. You got a nice range advantage on those PCs. Yeah, I think the BC's wasted all their Yamatos on the medevacs.
One of them does
Say
have a
waste.
Yamato.
Yeah.
So, oh, and there's a nice little attack at the front too from Benbot.
Siege tanks are actually in the game this time for Annibbot, but not in range to protect the orbital.
I do
They
like how
tried to get
Annibbot.
range, but they ate it.
I like how Annibbot did just pull the Marines back to deal with the battle cruisers, so like it just had Marauders and tanks at the front, but yeah, it's just been snowballed to death by the battle cruisers. Nice follow-up from Benbot just to go for the kill with this push.
Yeah, you really need to like pool up the Marines and then like stim them all in at once and dive. Otherwise, they're just going to get abused by the terrain blockers. which is why I always prefer dealing with air units with my bot making, because unless you got a long-range ground unit like a Thor, you're always going to run into trouble with this terrain.
Yeah, and then Thors have the problem that they get Yamato'd twice and then they're dead, so... yeah, I agree on that dealing with air units is probably the best move. There's like wiggle room, I guess, like as far as like having cyclones or something constantly out on the map, or bots like -0 can work wonders against things like broodlords with stalkers sometimes, but generally it is yeah, like Terran bots against Benbot that do well usually are the ones that go for the high Viking count in response. So well done, as Benbot will take the 2-0 lead in this series. Annibbot with the respectful GG timing.
There we go. Yeah, I told you Benbot's a strong one. He's going to be a threat to deal with.
Oh, definitely. And yeah, just not being able to deal with those battle cruisers in the back line is just killing Annibbot every single time at the moment. So, yeah.
Yeah, the
Looks
fact
like
that he
cameras
teleports
are not
behind
up,
the
by the
main
way.
base.
Yeah. Oh, God, yeah. It is harsh, but we're getting there. I say Annibbot, like, do a couple of small tweaks with that. He'll be able to handle that a lot better and probably be able to compete a lot more because, yeah, it's just harsh with that.
Yeah, I'm hoping we get a different opening or composition from Annibbot in this match.
Yeah. Well, let's check it out and see, shall we?
I think that's a great idea. Guys, if you haven't already, as we get this third game in this match started, click that like button on the stream. Even if you're watching the VOD or whatever, and follow AI Arena on Twitch. If you do want to support the bot scene, check out the Patreon. It's linked down below. We wouldn't have all these awesome bot games without the AI Arena infrastructure. So
I see Annie's confidence actually went down. I believe it said 15% earlier on. Now it's down
it did.
to 10%.
Yeah, it was 20 at first. Did it say bio again?
It said bio, and this time it's 10% confident.
Oh.
Yeah. I mean, we do see a barracks at home this time. Oh, no, that's Benbot BC. Never mind. So Benbot is the red Terran in the top right. Annibbot's the blue Terran in the bottom left. These intros are usually pointless, but I got myself confused. So. And looks like the proxy is going to get blocked this time out of Benbot.
Yeah, Annibbot immediately sends out another SCV to start it up again. No rack starting in the main for Annibbot, although one does get queued up now. So pretty similar cancellation. We'll just see. Maps can definitely play big into a game like this. The choice for Annibbot to go for the same build is a bit unfortunate, though, because like we've seen games where it's done like even like a mass Widowmine style that's been pretty good against Benbot, and yeah, it's just got so many builds, so it's a bit unfortunate it's doing the same one again.
Yeah, it did get shut down much quicker this time, and he's not trying to rebuild it, so there's some variation that might be favoring Annibbot. We see both racks being at home this time, so at least it's different. That's good to see. No orbital is a little surprising. I don't know why, but this seems to be somewhat common with bot makers. If you make a bot, when your barracks finishes, first priority is get the orbital. It's so important for your economy.
Yeah, every minute it's 250 free minerals, right?
Yeah, 225 you get from a mule, 200 to 225, depending on which patch you call down on. And yeah, it does put you like 2.5 workers behind when you upgrade it, so it's not as good as you would think, but still, you want to get right away. And you get the money really quickly, which is important when you're trying to ramp up quickly. First Reaper does arrive. The Reaper wall is not complete on the high ground, so you will be able to arrive and get inside here.
Yeah, there's a fair bit of dead space too here on Ultra Love to dart into that main base. We are getting shots off on some SCVs. Benbot, though, keeping it cool. Chasing after that Reaper. The Reaper jumps to the low ground, but then gets killed as it tries to go back up. Yeah, Reaper pathing is a struggle for a lot of bot authors if you don't have sort of memory that there's units up there. Yeah, I think a good solution for that would just be to have, like, I don't know how easy it would be to implement, but just like a forced delay as far as, or if a Reaper jumps down a cliff, don't make it go back up that cliff again for like 5 seconds or something like that.
Yeah, and it might have been outside of the marine range when it was poking back and forth, but that Hellion came and gave it a nice shot, so you might not have known that Hellion was coming to the edge of the ramp there.
Oh, there's a hole in the wall.
Yeah, there's a hole in the Reaper block here.
Doesn't matter though. Hellions shut down Reapers pretty darn effectively.
I don't blame Benbot. I blame the map maker on that. If you look at that red line, it's very inaccurate of where the jump up is.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I don't know if the factory could be like another hex over or something or not, but
no, it's actually right up against the terrain. It's just there's Oh, maybe you're right. Maybe it's not right up against the terrain. It's hard to tell.
The author might not.
I thought you could just jump to the left of it. Yeah.
Might not have honestly done that just because units were maybe getting stuck or something, or whatever conditions they use, or it could just be a mistake. Who knows? We do have Benbot actually getting aggressive once again, moving out with some Marines. It's got its couple Hellions. It's going to be difficult to push up the ramp. We'll see if it can find success. The Hellions will be the playmakers here, though. If they can get a shot off on some lined up Marines. Doesn't look like it, though, as the Liberator sets up. Benbot will skirmish Marines versus Marines outside of the Liberator zone, giving Benbot a nice trade. But the red Terran bot does turn around.
Yep, so no like crippling damage to the natural this time, although Annibbot does fight outside his ramp and his liberation circle, so giving Benbot a fair trade when he didn't have to. Siege Tank does arrive on its own once again. We've saw that previously, and this time it will take huge damage. Even the Marines getting in the dead zone. Not a single shot done by that tank. So already looking much better for Annibbot this game than in the previous one. Third base going down now for Annibbot. Meanwhile, we do have a third 3/4 of the way done in the main base of Benbot. So they should be starting their third base mining around the same time, I would think. Maybe a little bit sooner for Benbot. I do like how the Liberators kind of travel between all the bases of Annibbot. It just means, like, if you get attacked at a certain base, you'll probably end up having a Liberator there or nearby to help assist on the defense.
Yeah, and this like defensive setup behavior on them does seem pretty responsive.
Why did he scan after he already built the command center?
That's what I was talking about earlier.
Okay.
It just scans regardless of whether. Oh, like it was actually after it had started the CC, or was it just like
it was long afterwards?
Huh.
Like beforehand, it's like, yeah, okay, maybe that's generic, so it works versus Broad Zerglings and as well, but
okay,
there's no excuse to do it when it's already in production.
There could be a little more efficiency from Annibbot in its scan usage.
And bots can see burrowed Widow Mines anyways, so you don't need to scan the Widow Mine unless you actually see ones there. Because unlike other burrowed units, Widow Mines actually leave a visual indicator on the ground. Whereas, say, a burrowed Zergling, there's no visual indicator for people to see.
Okay, Benbot with its third base turning into a planetary. The first battle cruiser's done. Annibbot getting up its fourth base.
Yeah. Annibbot's ahead in economy. Its fourth base will be done soon. The only problem is we all know what's probably going to start happening any moment now.
Like
And that's going to
watching
be
a
the trouble
wreck.
point.
It's a wreck in slow motion. Yeah, I'm not
And it's
sure
not like
Benbot's
Annibbot
waiting.
it's not like Annibbot can be aggressive and bypass it that way either, because it's pretty suicidal also to go aggressive versus
Yeah.
Benbot.
And that's Benbot's design, right? Ironclad defense while the battle cruisers get efficiency.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, way back in the day, in the early days of bots, we basically had two types of bots. The bots that would go all in one base and cheese you, or the bots that would try to play defensive. So Benbot would do a fast expand, turtle up, and make battle cruisers, and that seemed to work really well versus both those types of tactics. You got the turtling versus the all-in bots, and then you got the BCs versus the macro bots.
That battle cruiser count is growing. 2 at a time.
Yeah, I thought when he finished Yamato he would go, but
yeah, I'm not sure if it needs 2 out before it'll decide to send them out or not.
Yeah, we do typically see 2 teleport in, don't we? Yeah, Annibbot a full base ahead, taking his 5th around the same time. There's a teleport now. And now we have the problem.
Yeah, okay, it's 2.
No Vikings on the production tab at the moment. We have a couple Liberators that will soak up Yamatos, if nothing else. And here comes the Marines. Unfortunate for Annibbot. I mean, as a human in a position like this, you kind of just give up the structures that are on the edge of your base, and you get the Marines back like half a screen length. And if the BCs decide to travel too far forward, then you stim in and gun them down.
Yeah, it's
all requiring decision making that bots typically don't have.
It's unfortunate because like the BCs, they are just. I'm curious if they're actually going in the Marine range or not. For like a second as they go forward and back, because
sometimes they step forward to Yamato and they take some shots there, but when they're doing their auto attacks, they're staying out of range.
Pain.
1 Viking being produced, 2 on the field, 3 on the field now. Okay, so
yeah, this might be enough to push them back. -1 Viking, -2 Vikings. All it takes is 1 shooting to seemingly get Benbot to say, okay, no more of these battle cruisers in back here. So Annibbot will survive this time. And so this could be a different game in the sense that game number 1, we had this happen that Annibbot did eventually clean it up, but then it had its tank stuck in its main. Game 2, it just never was able to clean it up. Whereas this game, it might not have its tank stuck in its main, as we see, and it's been able to push the BCs back. So this could be the most success Annibbot, or the biggest opportunity for Annibbot. 1 Marauder even being a hero, cleaning up some of these tanks. Bio moving forward to deal with the other tanks. So Benbot's tank count is now gone. The Yamato cannon will kill off a Medivac, but Annibbot's situation is looking a lot better compared to the previous runs of this.
Yeah, and I assume Annibbot has stim completed, but I'm not seeing him. Even when he's out in the open, I'm not seeing him stim against his BCs. Great economy out of Annibbot.
Yeah,
Benbot's let's see what these fights in the open grid do.
Okay, Annibbot trying to group up with its tanks. The Marines are moving forward, getting underneath some of the battle cruisers, bringing its own Vikings forward.
And using stim this time.
Yeah, that's a big deal. The tank, yeah, we see the grouping behavior of Annibbot where it's trying to keep its bio with its tanks, which allows it to be punished by these battle cruisers. Because when the tanks are unsieged, the tanks are unsieged.
Probably not anymore, but he did.
Well, upgrade-wise, Benbot's got a lead too. It's 2-2 against 1-1. So the bio just tickles the battle cruisers.
Right.
Vikings will push this back eventually, or at least push that one BC back. The rest of them and the tanks are still there.
Nice little scan out of Annibbot there. Nice to give his tank vision of the enemy tanks. Like to see like that high level programming.
Yeah, that is a good example of Annibbot's scan usage being nice. Now, Benbot's BCs, they're just so strong.
Yeah.
Like, Annibbot's not getting any more upgrades. Yeah, the Marines are just not properly engaging the BCs still.
Yeah, we're back to the kind of game one situation, right? He doesn't want to step in range of the enemy tanks, but he's just hovering in range of the battlecruisers instead. Yeah. It was that first fight at his third, I think, that just went too poorly. He had the big enough Marine count to just jump the tanks and at least trade evenly.
Yeah.
But after losing that, I think he's just kind of going to get overrun here. Because it would have dealt with that overwhelming BC count that Benbot had, kind of reset him, which would have been nice.
Yeah, like, Annibbot did kill off, like, what, it was like 6 tanks or something like that, but Benbot's on such a good economy, it's realistically not going to lose a battlecruiser in a situation like this. And so, yeah, it's just, even if Annibbot does get, like, a little victory, the overall game isn't going to be improving, I don't think, so.
No. I'm wondering if Annibbot knew he needs an armory to continue his bio upgrades. Maybe he was trying to get 2-2. Yeah, this looks like the beginning of the end here. Fully maxed out Benbot BC with a lot of high-tech units. Yeah, Marines just kind of getting in way of each other. The ones in the front will shoot, but then they back up, blocking the ones in the back. And once again, the Marines are too afraid to get in range of the siege tanks, which means the BCs get to shoot them for free. Really, only the Vikings are keeping the BCs under control, and
yeah,
they're not getting kills, right? They're just, periodically they force a teleport back home, where the BC will get repaired and come back.
If Annibbot had committed to more Vikings, this could potentially be a different looking game. Yeah. There's a reason why tank mech battle cruiser wins in the late game against bio, so it holds true in human games, it holds true in bot games, and so Annibbot will be taken down 3-0 by Benbot, the expected victor, able to advance.
Yeah, congrats there for Benbot BC. That's a really nice composition there. And again, just Annibbot just not able to deal with those battle cruisers in his own base for so long. And I think one of the battle cruisers entered the game with 80 kills, which is just crazy.
Doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
Did a BC even die in that entire series?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
No, I don't think so. Okay,
Yeah.
so our next best of 3 is gonna be explosive.
Which one is it?
It's gonna get a bit freaky in here, guys, because we have
Zozo, right?
we have the Master of Cheese. Oh, sorry, that's the wrong one. Oh wait, sorry, I have the thing set up wrong. We have the Master of Cheese. It is Zozo. Coming through a slightly tougher road than you would have expected for Zozo, really.
Yeah, it was looking dicey for a little bit.
Yeah. And no stranger to Cheese himself. It is our oldest bot on the ladder, and in fact, so old he even came back to Brood War and came into StarCraft 2. It is Tyr. But yeah, again, slightly easier road, only losing against -0, and who doesn't lose against -0, really? So.
Yeah. Did Tyr do an update for this final round? Do you know?
I believe they did.
Yes, he
Okay.
did. So the only 2 bots that did not upgrade for the quarterfinals was Sharpened Edge and Annibbot. So other than those, all other bots did upgrade for the quarterfinals.
I'm picking the underdog then. I'm picking Tier.
All right, is Tier the underdog? I don't know.
If someone can out mind game Zozo, I think it's Tier. Tier is
man.
like, he's good at the cheese. He's good at like countering what your opponent typically does. He'll be a step ahead, I think.
Yeah. Tier is one of those bots that really does well against kind of like the middle of the road bots and the lower bots who absolutely dominate. He does struggle against the very top level bots occasionally, but you
Yeah.
know, he's got some solid tactics. He's always comes with some fun builds. And in tournaments, he always produces something cool. So, yeah, it's good.
Yeah, Zozo, Dog Tato in chat saying Zozo is such a tournament bot. That's probably the best way to sum it up. Like the
So
author.
is Tier though. So is Tier.
Ah,
Tier has
yeah.
like never been a top 5 bot ever, but he's beaten all the best bots in tournaments, and including he's been tournament victor multiple times because of that. He'll come up with like cheesy builds. He'll come up with like counters to like he'll find something some tendency your bot has, and he'll abuse that to his own victory. That's why I feel like if anyone can out mind game Zozo, who's known for the mind games, it'd probably be Tier, I think.
Okay,
All right.
I'm ready for it then.
Yeah.
Let's go. All right.
I mean, it's definitely going to be anticlimactic, whatever happens. It's not going to be like this close, like 40-minute series.
I do agree that Zozo or Tier is probably not a bot that the author of Zozo wants to try and mind game against. I was like, oh man, because yeah, Tier can do anything.
Yeah, I can even see Zozo doing his macro build here. Anyways, spawning in the top left, we have Zozo, previous Probots champion, as the cheesy Protoss in the top left, the red. And Tier used to be Protoss himself, now is a Terran as his main bot, spawning as the blue Terran in the bottom left. Kind of like Persephone, so it makes it interesting. We see more drop play, I guess, on this map, just because if your bot drops a straight line between the two bases, he doesn't have to travel through the natural or anything. I love this with the probe. I will not be harassed.
Oh, it's going to be proxy gateways. So there's the second probe, and there's Tier saying, you're supposed to build gateways inside your own base, right? But the flower is going to get up right inside the main base. How will Tier respond?
Yeah, Tier, like his barracks is on time, but it's just the one barracks. We need to see something else. Second racks goes down, third racks goes down. Okay, that's something. But he's going to be behind in worker count. Or he's going to be behind in army count, I mean. You could still hold with just this if he fights well with SCVs and Marines combined. But there, bunker, that is something that could definitely turn this game around. Interesting. And even walling off his own base could be interesting as well. He gets the depots. Let's see what the Zealots do against the bunker. Are they going to run by and go for the mineral line? Or are they going to fight there?
Yeah, that's...
there should be one Marine in a complete bunker in time, I would think. Well, the Marine's got to get there quickly, though. There's the Marine. Okay, Zeld is out. Zeld's going to wait. He's going to hold back and wait. Which means he's going to be taking some structure damage. He may have just lost a probe there, I'm not sure. I saw the gun shooting south.
Yeah, it's interesting to see the Zealots holding back. I'm not sure we've ever seen this from Zozo. Like, usually it's send the Zealots in, isn't it?
Well, he definitely holds them back when he doesn't think he has enough. Like, we see this versus, say, Zerg, for instance. He'll wait until he has a few, and then... Now he's going to go for the bunker. Is there repair?
Okay.
Tier actually doesn't repair much. Okay, there he goes.
Yeah, it needs more SCVs to repair this. The probe even coming in, zapping at the repairing SCVs. More SCVs are being pulled, though, and that bunker hasn't fallen yet. Even more SCVs coming off the line. The Zealots are targeting them down. Tier, though, has got a high Marine count and has been able to hold on so far.
Yeah, I actually like this stuttering of the pulling SCVs, just pulling them when you need them. You know, so say I want 3 SCVs repairing or 4, and then if one dies, you pull another one.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of Marines there. Even at the start of that fight, there was 6 Marines, and that's a lot of damage. I know Zealots are tanky, but more than he can handle. Okay, so Zozo, I'm looking for a transition on the minimap. I think I see a Cybercore at home. No, just 2 pylons. Yeah, so he probably won't transition until he's convinced that this Zealot thing is over. Yeah, we'll have to see how Tier transitions as well, right? Because he does have 3 racks, 1 base. Like, that's not a great spot to be in either.
I feel like we've seen this exact game play out before between these two. Well, a similar situation where Tier holds, but then Tier might not necessarily counterattack in time. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see if he counterattacks. That's the big question.
Like, if he just, like, goes with, like, half of his SCVs right now, it's over. Like, 100% over. But
yeah.
He does. I think you're right.
Okay.
I think, haven't we seen this before?
I think we've seen it before, but Tier didn't actually counterattack.
Yeah,
like, I think
and
it's
I think
just
we
sat
complained
back.
about it. Maybe we, as commentators, have caused this this addition to his bot.
I hope so, because yeah, Zozo's totally dead here.
But where's it going?
That
is not the path to the main base.
It might maybe to the third or something prior to that.
Just hanging out. Okay, he's hanging out. He's gonna. It's interesting. He got into formation and then he started pushing in. Yeah, I mean, there's not even a cybercore complete yet. At most, there'll be a handful of zealots. Very nice.
Yeah, there's literally nothing for Zozo. As long as Tier takes this home, he's got the win.
This is Tier at his best, honestly. Like, this defense he did is solely to counter Zozo. There's no way you would ever build a bunker and 3 barracks in your base unless you're getting proxy racks in your main base by Zozo.
Yeah, this is a great call from the author. What did Tier even say at the end there? a little bit of smack talk, maybe.
Sorry, I missed the end there with the smack talk. So
we can. I'm sure someone can rewind and let us know. But
nice bit of smack talk there from Tier. We always love a bit there, so that's always good.
after a game, I'm not one to smack talk too often, but after like a game like that, I think it might be a bit justified.
Yeah, definitely justified for that one, I think.
I found it. Let's see what he said. He said, "Looks like your main base is gone. I guess that means I'm winning." Probably more generic smack talk. He probably does that any game. He kills the last Nexus and
yeah. All right. Let's take a look at.
Yeah, who did Tier play previously? 2. I feel like he got cheesed previously by someone.
I think they might have met in the earlier
rounds.
Zozo
as well? Okay.
Check.
No. Oh yeah, they met in round 2.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's possibly a similar game to what that had. All right, let's take a look at game number 2.
Okay, down 1-0. There is Zozo as the red Protoss in the top right, sending out his probe immediately. Tier up 1-0 is very welcoming to this probe. Please try it again. So Zozo, depending on the map, I believe, and the matchup, sometimes builds the proxy gates right inside the base, and sometimes builds it outside of the outside of the natural. So one is, gets your zealots like right in fighting distance immediately, as proxied as best as possible, but one is a little bit more hidden, like that you go unscouted. But it looks like he's going straight into the main once again.
Yeah, he's got a gateway going up at home now, so.
Yeah, okay. I mean, usually don't probe scout at this very start of the game, so I figured I had some plan for this, but it could just be a mind game thing. Zozo likes to do that as well, see if he can cause an overreaction. I'd love to see him actually just throw down a pylon. That's the other thing, though. Tier also didn't overreact at all, right? Like, when the pylon came down, he didn't pull any more SCVs besides the one that was chasing the probe. So even if, like, Zozo tries to mind game him, he'll still be ahead. And he didn't throw down the extra barracks until the gateways were placed in his main. It's a nice You know, I'd say like Tier did this specifically for Zozo, and he probably did, but it also seems very generic. Like it seems like it's something that could work versus any proxy gate or any variant of that, even a fake out.
Okay, so
Marina's out, which means the probe is heading home.
Yeah, this is like almost an unsettling macro start compared to the previous game. This is quite the contrast. Now, I am concerned for Zozo just because Zozo arguably ended up in a bad position in the tournament because it went for its macro build in matches where it should have been more cheesing. Like it's just this slow build up. It's not like to Tempest and Stalkers. We get a Robo, but Tier is just like a powerhouse in that it'll build a big bio ball with Vikings and just say, all right, you better have AoE, which Zozo isn't a bot that goes for. In fact, I don't think I've ever seen a game where Zozo goes for Colossi, goes for Disruptors, High Templar, anything like that. It relies on Tempest and Stalkers, which Tier seems to have a handle on. If games go on long enough, we get a third command center building on location for Tier, which is exactly what it should do against a bot like Zozo, because Zozo is going to be building up at a slower pace, and this can set Tier up for a very powerful mid game.
Yeah, Tier is a bot that doesn't really have, say, the Viking micro to deal with Mass Tempest later in the game. But it doesn't matter because Tier loves his Thors. He kind of likes to sit back himself and just get up a gigantic Thor force. And yeah, Thors will make mincemeat out of Tempest. Not only do they outrange Tempest, but they have that bonus to massive units, which means they kill them very quickly as well. Economically, we are seeing Tier being slightly ahead, I guess. 7 workers behind, that's pretty normal. Because you have to build the orbitals and you don't have chrono boost.
Yeah. That's going to change,
but,
though.
Third base is much earlier.
Yeah. Like, it'll be triple SCV production for a while, whereas it's just double for the probes. Like, and it's little things like Zozo building, like, Immortals are not cheap units. Zozo goes for this early Immortal. It could have been a much quicker third base, which it's like, okay, I guess it's good for defense or if you're trying to hit, like, a timing, but Zozo isn't really in any danger here, and so it's going to be falling behind a little bit macro-wise.
Yeah. Actually, I keep expecting to see like the Thors we do, but it looks very bio-intensive actually. Stim, Barracks, I think that army is just for more upgrades. We'll have to see.
Yeah. It will unlock Thors though, and yeah, it's not like Tier really goes for like a Thor rush. It'll hit 200 supply maxed. Oh, we have an idle mule from Tier in that third base mineral line. Yeah, there's a mule not doing anything.
Yeah, we've seen mining issues with Tier in the past. We've seen my idle SCVs as well. I'm not sure what it causes it, but it's probably a bug he needs to look into.
Yeah, that hopefully it's just the one mule, because if that's a consistent thing this game, that is a significant handicap for the Terran.
Yeah, I've seen him mining with mules earlier. So whatever that bug is, I don't know what causes it, but yeah, every once in a while he'll get idle worker and apparently idle mule as well.
Okay, there is a Thor on the way for Tier. It is building up into this just bio Marauder Thor strong composition. Zozo does actually get the fourth base up quicker than Tier in this game, which is a significant development, as the economy will definitely play into this, as they're both just sitting back.
Yeah, I think that's okay for Tier. Tier usually isn't a big fan of like expanding forever. He's more of a, I'm going to timing attack you, so I'll get my 3-base economy, and then I produce units and kill you, sort of idea. So
yeah, look at that.
As long as he doesn't sit on 3 base and do nothing, like if he stops on 3 bases and then does a timing attack, I think that's fine. That's fine.
There's a scan by Tier to identify Zozo's army, so it can kind of plan accordingly if it's got counter tables. Zozo is moving out though to potentially get aggressive. It's got the prism, it's got 3 immortals.
And he might arrive before combat shield's done. there is the ramp advantage here for Tier, but is Tier going to go down the ramp and meet him?
No, don't go down the ramp. The bio's just all gonna stim and go for it. Zozo is juggling the units in the prism. The Thor is so slow to follow the bio that it definitely missed some early shots, but we still see the power of just bio against Stalkers and Immortals. It's not a perfect trade or anything, but I think it was an okay trade for Tier. But then the line of sight blockers causing problems. The Thor will go down.
Yeah, even-ish. Yeah, stim bio without any splash damage is not good for Zozo, but yeah, this positioning was just great for Zozo, which made the kind of even fight, maybe even slightly in Zozo's advantage. And he certainly has the army size advantage right now. These Thors are not what you want when you're facing Immortals.
No, they are not.
Even Stalkers. He's focus firing down the weak Stalkers. I like that, so he's able to snipe 3 Stalkers before he loses that Thor. Yeah, so nice juggling out of the Warp Prism here, and still 2 Immortals.
Yeah, this is really bad for Tier. This makes me want to go back and watch their other games to be like, what was really different in this one that Zozo's all of a sudden able to push in super, super quickly?
Yeah, and Tier's kind of just sending out his units in one at a time, which is definitely not what you want to do, especially against Protoss on shields.
The Terran's production has just felt so low, too, because it's been building 2 Thors at a time this game. That's 6 Marauders at a time you could be making instead. Or however many Marines. They'd be better. We are getting an SCV repair on the Thors, which is definitely helping the defense here. A Viking coming forward can maybe zone the Prism out. Maybe Tier's not out of this one yet, as 2 Thors with a Dream. Although their SCVs abandoned them, they got to get back and help repair that Thor. Unfortunately, that's not going to be the case. As idle SCVs on the front.
Yeah, when I saw the Vikings on the production tab, I thought that might be the key to get back into this game, to have the Vikings snipe the War Prism, but they just kept flying over Stalkers and dying. He's built 6 or 7 Vikings now, and none of them have ever even shot at the War Prism, let alone got the kill.
Yeah. Zozo's reinforcing has been really good too. It's just consistently been sending more Stalkers Immortals across the map. Now there's Tempest out too. And the snowball started and it just got bad for Tier.
Yeah, running down that ramp, just at this, that first fight was his to lose, and he lost it, and Zozo just hasn't taken his foot off the brake since then. He's
I'm trying to remember
got that army size advantage and just kept it.
Was there? I wonder if there was tanks in the previous game from Tier, but not in this game.
I mean, he didn't need the tank. Marine Marauder with Stim should be able to just walk over Immortal Stalker. He just kind of got caught. It's he kind of built the Thors too early, so he had a lot of his money tied up there, and then the Marine Marauder just didn't take a good fight. It still looked good because it was Stim Marine Marauder, which is always going to look good, but not as good as it could have been if the positioning was a little better. Yeah,
there's always wiggle room for the Protoss to hit timings where Terran's almost overconfident, and that was one of them. So, well done by Zozo. Honestly, I didn't expect it to win that to win a macro game like that. So, well done.
Yeah, nice play there by Zozo. Yeah, the early advantage seemed to be with Tier as well, which is really impressive. He turned that around. So, yeah, that was a really impressive game. All right, let's have a look at game 3. We have ourselves a series, guys.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, Tier building all those Vikings when there's only War Prism, and then not getting the War Prism with all those Vikings. That was pretty painful too.
Yeah.
It's that could have been a ton more Marine Marauders.
Yeah.
I wonder if it scanned or something and saw, it might have scanned across the map and saw that there was Tempest building. So that's why it's oh, I need Vikings or something.
Yeah.
And all that production would have been fine if he dealt with the Immortals in the first fight, but since he didn't, you can't just go pure anti-air and let the Immortals just have its way with you.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, I think that would have looked brilliant by Tier if the first fight went different, but it didn't. So
yeah,
then it was I need everything. I need to take over the ground, but I also need to deal with the air, and you can't just when you have to do both, it's really difficult.
All right, then let's take a look at game number 3.
Okay, up one. No, up. It's 1-1 is now as a series. So down the bottom right, we have the Red Protoss Zozo. And Tier is up in the top left. Let's see what we get this game. Pulling off an SCV with minerals in its hand. Probe once again being sent right at the start of the game, but we don't know what that means. Obviously, as we saw, that this was just ended up being a scout probe in game 1 or in game 2. I mean,
Yeah, there's a pylon back at home and a gateway back at home, so we could just potentially be getting it run back.
Yeah. I don't mind this for either player. I mean, obviously sending out a probe at the start of the game is pretty painful on your early economy. But once he reaches the base, Tier is going to chase it with an SCV the entire time while having a scout SCV as well. So right now, Tier has 2 SCVs not mining. So that kind of evens it out.
Yeah,
Earlier expansion, but Nexus isn't too far behind.
I do hope this game is similar, just because I want to see, like, how much did that line of sight blocker affect, like, that fight in the middle of the map? How much did, like, the ramp and Tier coming down it affect it?
Yeah, the problem was Tier spotted the army just beforehand. And when he spotted the army, he sent his army down the ramp to fight it. If he didn't see the army, then the fight would have taken place at the ramp, and it would have been perfect for him.
Yeah, if Tier's on top of the ramp, it just crushes, because also those Thors, like, for the first, like, 5 seconds of that fight, the Thor was just out of breath trying to catch up to the bio.
That will probably happen no matter what, because the Stalkers will be kiting backwards, the Marines and Marauders will be stimming forwards.
Yeah.
And the Thors are just going to be, we're too slow. So I can see that happening no matter what, but...
yeah, it could not be as bad, though. I think if Tier's the one with the more defensive posturing, whereas, yeah, it saw Zozo's army and was like, all right, here, let's fight, and ran out. It's like a dog seeing a squirrel or something.
And like you said at the end, too, the sight blocker just allowed free kills for Zozo.
Yeah,
so even if you had like one less immortal on the follow-up, because it was like 3 immortals doing non-stop damage for the rest of the game. So if it was 2 immortals doing non-stop damage, that's a big difference.
Yeah. Well, Tier 2, like, if it had seen all of Zozo's army, maybe it's like, oh, you have more supply than me and retreats instead of pushing in.
Yeah.
So it's yeah, lots of little factors of the maps can impact games that are being ran with identical code as the previous match.
I wonder how advanced the targeting is for Tier as well. There's things you can do, the bots can do that humans can't, that can make those fights look even really much stronger. Like having Marauders always shoot in an armored unit, so they're always doing double damage. Never putting a shot into an immortal when it has its barrier up is something you can do. So the barrier makes the barrier basically useless. And then obviously focus firing down weak units. If you have all 3 of those things, it can make what looks like an impossible fight become very possible.
Yeah. And those are the things that you almost have to, like, pause the replay to appreciate fully. And just like, okay, they're shooting this unit this second and this unit the next second. Why are they doing that?
There's so many things that are like impossible to code for bots, but this is one of these things. Is like it's one line of code to like not shoot an immortal when it has barrier, and it's something that a human would never be able to do. I don't care if you like have Cyril and Maru playing Archon mode or whatever, they would never be able to micro that. You'd always end up dumping damage into an immortal into the mortal barrier.
Yeah, no, you absolutely are right that that's relatively low investment for a big return.
And yet something like a cannon rush is probably like the most difficult thing for a bot to ever accomplish. Because how to like surround a cannon with pylons and understand the terrain. It's like super basic for a human and basically impossible to code. It's so weird how the meta can be so much different for bot makers and for human players because of what's difficult and what's easy. War Prism is out now. Let's see if that cues up Zozo to get on the aggression. Not quite, but there is a second Immortal going to come as well. Combat Shield will also be a big deal. I think that was a major factor in that fight, where I think the fight started with Combat Shield 95% of the way done. You know, that's like an extra 100 hit points on your army. It's a big deal when the armies are that small.
Okay, so Tyr just building up its army, got a healthy amount of bio.
Yeah, probably on 3 racks, 2 reactor building 4 marines, and 1 tech lab building a marauder. So that's a nice mix. 4th base on the way now for Zozo.
Thor being produced. We're gonna have very similar timings to the previous game. I really enjoy how we're going to probably be getting this ran back. I'm not sure the marine, like, there's a marine that's locked onto this probe here of Zozo. I'm wondering, was that the marine that like scouted the initial move out or something?
It is, yeah.
So that could totally change this.
Yeah.
If the probe has different pathing, Tyr might not get a heads up, so it postures more defensively. So then it will take a better fight, as again, it's parked on top of a ramp. It's just the little things can make such a big difference in these bot games.
Look at the way he aligns his army too at the 3rd. He's got like the marauders in front of the marines. He's got everything spread out in a nice little concave line. It's really cool. That's something I haven't seen with other bots.
Okay, we've got a small squad moving out for Tyr towards the right. Is that just going to clear this Expo? Looks like it. So they're not going to be there for the defense right away. That's a big deal. I'm not
Even
sure
the other squad's not going to be there because he's going straight into the natural.
Okay, this could be a potential surround situation though if Zozo goes in too deep. As Tyr is now going to try and dive on top of this. We do get some SCVs pulled as well, other than they've changed direction. 1 Immortal goes down. There's still 3 in this, and Tyr's army has just thinned out so much. Lots of his army is just moving down the map for a counterattack, it appears, but he needs to be focused on this defense because he didn't have the critical mass. Yeah, this is going to have to either pull Zozo's army back, which it looks like it might be doing. Nope, Zozo is still on the front. 1 Thor moves out. That's not a good fight, Thor, against 3 Immortals. The bio of Tyr didn't even really seem to be shooting much. Now they're in the natural base. Zozo has got this God tier probe micro, though, that we see paired with the battery to minimize the losses. And Tyr is kind of just being eaten as these units pop out again on the other side of the map.
Yeah, the barracks did soak up a lot of damage though, so it means this Thor has been going ham.
It has been getting lots of shots off.
And he's even got a couple SCVs repairing it, but he doesn't have that barracks anymore, so I don't think that Thor's going to live too much longer.
Yeah, now
there's the Vikings once again. Will he actually do anything? We need those Vikings on the War Prism.
That's the thing, they didn't in the last game. The repair on this Thor is quite significant, but there's 4 Immortals. They should be able to bring this down. Another Thor does pop out. It's crazy. Okay, how long that Thor lived, but yeah, it's
like
27 army
supply.
supply. Yeah. Quite unfortunate for Tyr, as Zozo will take this one.
Yeah, even the Tempest arriving. Yeah, just caught out position that time. Again, though, I'm not convinced that this is always going to go in Zozo's favor.
No, yeah, I honestly want to see the same thing again, just because, like, if Tyr has its whole army at home, like, I think there's definitely a chance it takes the fight. Based on how these engagements are going, I'm thinking, like, it's probably a good idea to ditch the Thors, just because of how bio scales against an army like this.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it'll make a lot of sense if the first engagement goes well, because then you'll have the answer to the follow-up of Tempest. But you gotta knock down all those Immortals. Like even Thors versus Stalkers is pretty good for Thors. I mean, it's not bad at least. It's the Immortals are the crazy part.
Yeah. This is the kind of series that makes me want to do like a deep dive or something, because there's so much going on here.
Yeah, it's definitely a really fun game. Really fun series so far, but Zozo definitely bringing it back somewhat. Anyway, guys, we just need a 5-minute break, and we will be right back with the end of this series and probably the start of the next one. I do apologise. Keep
No.
us on it, but yeah, we'll be back in around 5 minutes. Apologies.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks. Hmm.
There we go. We had small disconnection slightly again, and it came straight back. So yeah, that's all good. All right. So
Yep.
where were we? We were just saw the end of game 3 of Zozo versus Tier, with Zozo taking the win to take the lead in the series by 2 games to 1, and puts him on the cusp of another semi-final, another one. So he is. Tier can always fight back, as it's been a very, very close series so far. So in that case, let's take a look at game number 4. All right, and we are go.
Okay, Zozo spying down in the bottom right of torches, once again sending off his probe right away. And we got Tier in the top right. Kind of an interesting map. We got the kind of this island area between the two bases that is temporarily blocked off. There's some I don't know what to call them, just destructible Zerg rocks that slowly devolve. And there's also some gold minerals you can like drill through. That also confuses some bots. They think those gold minerals are a base.
Yeah. This map has caused a few problems for bots. And like it's kind of funny too, because the map is almost self-correcting with those Zerg rocks, because like say a bot's trying to path in there and it's just broken or something. Eventually the rocks die and the bot should correct itself with the pathing, just because the path actually opens up.
Yeah.
But so it's kind of funny in that regard. And then if you have a Zerg, it's like, will the Zerg get creep to the rocks so then they stop dying, potentially stopping the bots from fixing themselves, or the map from fixing the bots in a way. So it's kind of a lot going on just from a few little cool map features. So
Yep, so very similar to the last couple of games. We saw that early probe scout that's being chased. When some rain comes out, it'll probably go back home. Similar expansion timings out both these spots. Both scouting each other. And yeah. I mean, normally when you see 3 games identical, three games where the two bots do the same strategy, it's bad. But in this case, this is what I wanted to see. Because I feel like every single time this engagement could go better for Tier. I'm not 100% convinced that this is a Zozo favored strategy.
I'm wondering if I can't recall. Did Zozo always go for Cybercore, like Nexus Cybercore? Because it did this game. Like, I'm wondering, did the author tweak that maybe? Because like, it seems that Zozo's macro has been more powerful than what we've seen previously. So I'm wondering, like, because from what I recall in other games, Zozo would like one base battery on the high ground, get some stalkers, and then take the expansion later with its macro. Whereas like this is a bit of a greedier, well, not greedy, but just more macro focused build that's sort of less safe. So I'm wondering if that's like one of the potential adjustments the author has made, which is why this is looking stronger.
Yeah, it definitely could be. There's actually a probe a little bit stuck on his own ramp. It's a minor thing, but okay, there he goes. Yeah, these probes, oddly, when he makes a new probe in the main base, it like gets stuck on the wall, and then eventually goes and starts mining at the natural base. Weird. Yeah, what you're saying is probably definitely true. I think what we're seeing is like these two bots, and this is why I love these two bots. I think they're trying to mind game each other. I think Zozo particularly went greedy, and I think he sent out his probe at the start of the game on purpose, hoping for an overreaction from Tier. He's like, Tier always upgrades his bot. He might have something ready for my proxy nexus, so I'm gonna try my proxy nexus. If it doesn't work, and I'm gonna do the fake proxy nexus, or proxy 4 gate, I should say.
That's that's a good breakdown of the dynamic between these two. Zozo's author definitely has shown great adjustments, and we'll see if maybe it's like Tier's time to adjust. But
Well,
so
I mean,
far it doesn't look like it.
if it's the same as the previous games, I think this is probably best case scenario for Tier. Like, yeah, he doesn't have a like a ramp or a choke point in front of his third base, but almost certainly his army is going to be at his third, and almost certainly Zozo's going to pass through the third. Even if Zozo tries to attack the natural like he did in the previous match, you have to go through the third to get to the natural. So it feels very unlikely that Tier's going to be caught out of position. He might end up sending a portion of his army to the fourth again.
Oh, I hope not. Yeah, because that could just be served up on a plate.
Yeah. But like last game, it wasn't just that like a third of his army was counterattacking. It was also that Zozo got to kill a Thor and a Marauder for free before Tier's army even arrived.
Yeah.
Because Zozo attacked the natural before when Tier was at the third. Yeah. But it also, honestly, it could be that Zozo always wins in this. I'm still not sure. Maybe it's just not enough bio to deal with that many immortals. Well,
I think there is compositional weaknesses for sure.
Yeah,
but
it is like, yeah, it's a huge timing attack out of Zozo, and it's just like the 3 barracks out of Tier for defense. But I don't know. I believe in Stim Bio. Stim Bio when there's no splash damage. It's like there's such hard counters in the TVP matchup. It's like gateway units own the entire map until you get Stim, and then Stim Bio owns the entire map until Protoss gets splash damage, and then Protoss owns the Terran again. So it just feels like even though Tier has less, just the fact that it's Stim Bio against no splash damage, it's like, shouldn't that just rip through Stalker Immortal? It just feels like it should.
Yeah, I guess Zozo's micro is just so good as well that it splits the damage against its units, maximizes the damage its own army puts out. And then, like, honestly, even Tier's decision to put the Marauders in the front is an interesting one because they do take bonus damage from the Stalkers.
Okay, here we go. This is the fight we wanted. Whole army here for Tier. What's it actually gonna look like?
There is a line of sight blocker in there too, but Tier gets vision relatively quickly through that.
Nice juggling of the Immortals. I guess part of the reason there's always so many Immortals too is because the War Prism is doing such a good job of keeping them alive.
It really is. The micro's impressive. Now Tier decides to fall back as Zozo also falls back, so the Terran will hold on.
Yeah, somewhat even. I think that went probably well for Zozo. He lost like all of his Stalkers, but the bio's hurt now. Even though some of the bio live, there's no medevacs.
Yeah, and well, Tier's been investing in these Thors, so it doesn't have that much bio reinforcements. And look at this, now there's nothing to support these Thors. There's not enough SCVs being pulled either. Like, I mean, they're living longer than I thought they would. Zozo just needs like one more shot off, and there they go. There's a nice little message from Tier saying it seems like I've lost the tournament series. Good luck in the next one.
Yeah, I guess something I missed in the previous ones was the War Prism micro was so strong.
Yeah, Zozo's micro.
Yeah. I thought it was just like the lack of army out of Tier, but like, it's just really strong micro in that fight as well.
Yeah, a bit unfortunate for Tier. Like, it plays a solid macro style, but just little adjustments would need to be made to potentially fix this. I think Zozo's author definitely made some tweaks for this situation, and it's worked out quite well.
Yeah. And great series out of Tier as well. Like, I love his defense in game 1. Like, that was basically perfect, and it wasn't overcommittal. It wasn't like just a hard blind counter. It's like something that could work for any sort of rush.
Yeah, that was definitely a highlight of this series, was that early game defense. Like, we wouldn't have had all these great macro games if Tier wasn't defending the cheese well.
And I'm convinced now that if we played this game out 100 times, I think Zozo wins it every time. Because I think even if the fight goes really well for Tier, he's not killing the Immortals because of the Prism micro, which means the follow-up attack is going to be like bio that doesn't have medevacs, that's already stemmed itself twice, against like 5 immortals or something. So
Yeah.
I was
No,
thinking if the
think-
fight went really well, you could like knock him down to like 1 immortal, or maybe just clean up the entire fight. But that Prism Micro is something I missed in the early games. It's yeah, it made it very difficult.
yeah, it's really nice Prism Micro and a really nice series there played by Zozo. I think surprisingly Zozo lost the cheese game and then won the 3 macro games, which is not normal for Zozo. So he shows some real improvement there. So it's always good to see. So and,
I think
we'll
it is
see.
normal for Tier though. Tier's probably his biggest nemesis is the strong and macro bots.
Yeah.
He handles the cheese and he does the cheese very well. That's why I
Yeah.
was really excited for this series.
Oh, definitely. All right, so we are on to our final quarterfinal of the evening, and it is Avocados, seeded the 11th. Had a rocky start to the tournament, but came through 3 best of 3s really well, which is against Canada, Dominion Dog, and then beat out Sharkbot in the last best of 3, which is a big surprise, I'd say.
Yeah. Um, I think this has potential to be a significant upset, as Avocados' author has been going ham with the updates and the requesting of the matches. Like, from glimpsing at their match history, they've thought this entire tournament through, as far as potential opponents and stuff, and there has been some green in there. So
Yeah. And
But
Negative Zero's author, while he's active, almost has the opposite. Like he wants his bot to be super generic. He doesn't want to like do anything specific for any sort of bot. So
yeah,
yeah,
if Avocados is targeting Negative Zero, and then we know Negative Zero is not doing the opposite, yeah,
it's
there could be
possible.
potential for an upset. Yeah.
that's
But
exactly it.
however, he is the #1 seed. He is unbeaten
Yeah.
in the tournament so far, and he is an absolute monster bot. Like we're talking a level above almost every other bot except for maybe Eris here. And it would be a major, major upset if anything were to happen here.
I think he's been
Yeah.
tested a little bit less against the cheese than other like #1 bots. Like I know of like for years, Micro Machine when he was at the top and Eris when they were at the top, were just getting targeted with cheese nonstop. It's like we can't beat this bot, then we figure out some cheese, and then they got all that experience of like getting slaughtered by cheese. Okay, I need to fix this in my bot. I need to shore up this hole. So those bots are very cheese proof. Where Negative Zero, he's faced that to some extent, but probably not as cheese proof as Eris and Micro Machine in their heyday. So yeah,
Well,
there's potential.
it's going to be interesting to watch. So let's have a look.
All right, this is our last match of the night as well, guys. So click that like button on the stream if you haven't already. Click all the buttons, and
And lick the
yeah,
like button.
we'll see if Avocados' author can pull off an upset.
Yeah, and Avocados himself is the red Terran here, spawning down in the bottom right-hand corner of Meganatha. Meanwhile, Negative Zero is up in the top left. I think another major advantage, or possible advantage for Avocados, is Negative Zero has had a really good time slaughtering Terrans for years who go mech. Because bot authors like mech for whatever reason, including myself. Avocados is more of a bio fan, I believe, so that's something that Negative Zero has seen a little bit less, a little bit more risky for his like how he loves to keep the stalkers out on the field if he's facing, say, Stim bio, for instance.
Yeah, it's Avocados is definitely a bio bot. I think the author has been building it out slowly from looking at a few of their games. Like I think it was just Marines at first. Now they're adding in some Marauders potentially too, and yeah, it's just someone that's newer in the scene that's been putting in the work, and we'll see if they can pull off a snipe against the latter version of Negative Zero, as Yeah, it's definitely a bit of a clash of design philosophies going on.
And honestly, not even much of a sniper Avocados, because like he already was like a bio all-inning sort of bot, right? So it's not like he's doing something completely different just because he's facing -0. He's just probably gonna do the same thing and maybe in a slightly different order or a slightly crisper to try to beat -0 here.
Okay, we are getting a tech lab from Avocados as it goes for this 1 base, 3 racks opening.
Yeah, all 4 racks have been scouted by this probe. I think he even caught the tail end of that new racks that was being placed. So -0 knows exactly what he's up against. He's not going to be like throwing on a third nexus or anything. It looks like he's actually pretty happy to stay on 1 base. Maybe try to get an overwhelming victory and then take his natural.
This is where -0 has a lot of its success, as it does delay the base when it should. And based off that scout, it's investing in all the extra production to try and match Avocados' nutty production. And yeah, neither bot taking an expo yet, although there is an SCV moving down to the natural. And this is one of my favorite things about Avocados, is that while it's not just like a one basing cheese bot necessarily, the author does have upgrade behavior. They've got expanding behavior in it. It will like play a 20-minute game out and scale if it has to, or if the game goes that direction.
Yeah. I like the little addition to his mining there when he's fully saturated at his main base, that he goes and distance mines the natural.
Yeah.
You can even do one level more than that, is you could triple up on the faraway patches. So for bot authors, those would be the patches that are 750 minerals. You triple up on those and then you distance mine after that.
Yeah, because you get a little bit more efficiency, right?
Yeah,
With the
even with speed mining, you get a little bit more efficiency tripling up on them. Also, distance mining workers are they're prone to die sometimes, you know. If you just are traveling on their own, you never know what they'll encounter, especially against a bot like -0 that kind of likes to get out there and take map control. Although in this situation, he's definitely not doing that, which I like seeing here. It looks like he's recognized he's against the cheesing bots, and he shouldn't risk his stalkers being out there on the map. But how does he know when to expand? What if Avocados just tries to go 2 base?
Well, that's where there's
really getting the info. Oh, he
definitely
does have
wiggle room too, as against like I'll delay the expansion based on like how much stuff the enemy has. The enemy can definitely exploit that. And that's something that Avocados' author could have done. They could have been like, okay, if I build 15 Marines and 3 Marauders, -0 will sit on 1 base and I can macro up. There's definitely room to exploit that. And
I do see a low energy sentry though, so I'm guessing he's using that for Phoenix scouts.
Yeah.
So at some point you'll probably see this expansion and realize it's okay for himself to do so as well. But kind of missed it, right? Because I guess based on the sentry energy, he probably scouted it right before the command center went down. So he's not going to know he's up against a 2-basing Terran for quite a while.
We should get another sentry or Phoenix sent out soon, I think.
Yeah, I think it's only 50 energy, right? So there it goes. However, if it goes to the main first and then dies before it sees a natural, there's potential for this game to go really well for Avocados if -0 just holds on 1 base.
Oh.
Interesting.
Yeah, maybe it just didn't scout if there's a little bit of a bug in -0. Oh, it does hold it back and then send it in. Not till the last second will it glimpse the command center. It does see the command center. So -0 does fire up an expansion upon getting that confirmation. Very notably, the Protoss bot is going for a Robo Bay as well. Colossus could be incredibly powerful against an all-bio composition like this.
Yeah, as well as seeing the expansion, you did see a ton of Marines and Marauders as well. And when you say counter tables, that's the -0. That's what he's known for. He built his composition exactly to counter exactly what his opponent has. So I expect to see Colossus being built against that many Marines.
We do have a move out though. It's currently 62 army supply of stimmed bio that will have +1 attack coming towards -0. This is a just monstrous army from Avocados. It's been building up for 7 minutes. -0 glimpses this with the Phoenix. I'm curious if it will adjust its positioning or not, because this is the kind of fight you want to take place by your Nexus, not necessarily out on the map like this, although we do see -0 kiting back immediately after the biostims. Prism can juggle the units, but the Protoss is just having to step back against this. The Prism actually goes down as Avocados is now looking to potentially cancel this Nexus, kill the cornered Stalkers. As -0 has to cancel the Nexus, it doesn't have any army left. I think we've got a bit of an upset here.
Yeah. It's almost like the overconfidence is built in. Like normally for a human, like against that, you need to you want some batteries and to fight the batteries. But -0 is always confident that his micro just beats out anyone else's. Problem is you can't do much micro against Stim Bio, especially if there's concussive shell. Like they're faster units, and look at the target, the pylons down too. I love it.
So really well done by Avocados. The author has clearly done their homework and put in some work.
Interesting.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, really nicely done there by Avocados. Taking the 1-0 lead. This could be a very interesting series.
Yeah, I mean, much like with the defensive tier, it's all about the first attack with Avocados. You know, he doesn't have that bank of medevacs, so all that stimming is gonna hurt him in follow-up attacks, but it doesn't really hurt you in the first attack. You don't really need to heal up during the attack that much. So you just get an overwhelming victory on the first attack like you did there, and that's GG.
Yeah. All right, guys.
Okay.
Let's get the second game on the way.
Okay, Avocados up 1-0 now, spawning up in the top left-hand corner. -0 down in the bottom left. So we do have the vertical spawns here on Persephone. A little bit quicker for the Phoenix Scout to get across the map and whatnot. I guess what -0 was doing was getting the full duration out of the Phoenix Scout. So it's kind of keeping it out alive in the middle of the map, and then when it gets low in duration, then it moves it in to see what's going on, rather than suiciding it right away.
Yeah, -0 has been very successful with its scouting behavior to read the situation. Like, to solve that previous game, like, it probably wouldn't be very much like it wouldn't be too much work from the author to maybe adjust like its behavior, whether it be just to be a bit more defensive or take the expansion at a different time or something like that, or reposition the army a little bit based off what it saw. But yeah, that's kind of highlights how it is difficult to stay on top of it if someone is coming up with a snipe against you. And yeah, we'll see if we're just gonna get a similar situation happening or not.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely not the most efficient build, Avocados. You know, going 3 barracks before an orbital command is actually puts you pretty far behind. And he's not using this bio for an early attack, so it wasn't necessary. And it does also allow -0 to scout them all, but I guess that also means -0 is going to stay on one base, or didn't have to. When you see 3 racks, he doesn't expand. So very similar setup to the previous game. I don't think you saw the 4th racks this time. Actually, I don't even think there is a 4th racks yet. But Yeah, going to stay on the one base robo play. -0 kind of had an unfortunate timing in his defense where he invested so much money into stuff he didn't use. Like he built an expansion base they had in mind from. He got a robotics bay, but he hasn't made any Colossus yet.
Yeah, it's difficult because like as Protoss, if a Terran is massing bio, it's like, okay, like you can't just skip your gateway units and rush to like a Colossi tech or something like that.
Yeah.
But then you also can't delay the Nexus too long. But then at some point you do need that AoE just because the bio scales, so it's better. So it's a really fine line to walk as the Protoss. Yeah, I'd have just been curious to see how that fight goes, say if -0 is at like its natural Nexus, just because like that Nexus would absorb so much damage. If there's probes there, they tank shots too, just by the nature of the pathing usually, which is why players usually defend at a base. Or it's just being in the middle of the map for the bio to charge forward at you and then scatter you isn't great. So
yeah, but the biomicro Avocados, he was ignoring those structures. Like when he dove into the natural base, he was not shooting anything into the Nexus or the pylon. He was like he just kept diving for those stalkers. So it's a good enough micro out of Avocados, where I think just structures in general won't help him too much on defense. You really want a shield battery or something along those lines. Okay, so this Phoenix needs to get across the map. It's getting pushed into the corner. I wonder if it'll even make it across the map in time to see the command center.
Maybe it's a good thing if it doesn't. If -0 just stays on one base forever.
Yeah, maybe. Oh, he's not going to see it.
Gets out 3 Colossi on one base.
He doesn't see it. Oh boy. Okay, yeah, I mean that'll help him for one fight, I guess. Which I guess is good. Like he could definitely like just power up on one base and you know stuff the attack and then win the game.
Was that the first scout though? Because the first one I don't think got the scout on the command center either. It was the second one, so the game could still look pretty much the same.
I thought that was the Phoenix from the previous game that spotted the command center. So he started his
Nexus
it was
around the second one.
The command center was finishing. Looks like he's going to expand anyways. Just yeah, looks like 5-minute mark is when -0 says, "Okay, I think I need to expand." It's been 5 minutes. No one's attacked me. Not sure where -0 is off to. Defending his third base.
Yeah. Oh, is
Phoenix
it getting
will
aggressive?
Finally spot it. No. Oh, I don't think he saw it. I don't think he saw the natural.
Okay, so -0 staying on one base. It pulls its army back upon seeing all that bio. We do get a Robo Bay. Like,
yeah.
It's not a good position for the Protoss, but it could still be better than the alternative, which is dying defending a second base. Like if -0 can get up 2-3 Colossi on one base, it could potentially just kill Infinity Bio.
Yeah, and if he placed the expansion now, he would get no use out of it. It would just be throwing away 400 minerals. So I do like that, you know, if he hadn't expanded yet, it's probably good not to expand right as Avocados is attacking. So I do like he's got the ramp to defend. He has more money in the bank. Which
There's 3 Immortals as well.
Yeah. And this ramp is going to be actually huge because there is no air units for Avocados. Will Avocados go up the ramp?
Yeah, -0 sees it. Does it retreat up the ramp?
Yeah, it probably should. He likes to kite backwards. At least
the Zealots charge in to soak some damage. The Prism is out, so it could potentially juggle some of these units as the Protoss army is getting dove upon, splits up as well as it can in the limited terrain inside the main base. The trade, though, isn't even that great for -0 as it loses most of its army supply.
Yeah, but again, that stim damage is permanent. There is no medevacs.
Yeah, oh, nice bait of a stim, too. -0 just turned around immediately upon that stim.
But here's the thing, -0 still thinks it's one base, which is one base. So he really needs to counterattack now. because this is just going to get worse from this point forward. And unfortunately, yeah, like you said, the fight didn't even go that well for -0, despite the fact he was one basing. So he doesn't really have that army lead that he needs to push to victory here.
Yeah. We're getting another Prism as well instead of a Colossus. -0 might hold on with this attack.
Yeah, for sure. That's some pretty injured bio there. Prism Micro. Very nice. He needs to go. Okay, so there. Oh god, no! Keep going, keep going. Because Stalkers, like, they can out micro Marines. Like,
Okay,
yeah, the Marines have
-0 is
stim, but
building
when they're that
gas.
low, the stim's not.
Is
a
it
big
waiting
deal.
for gas for a Colossi? I hope so. Yeah, there we go. We do get a Colossi.
Yeah, and oddly enough, he did research the thermal lance before the Colossi, so at least it'll be a long range Colossi. Once again, the Phoenix getting pushed away. Yeah, the Phoenix micro, the hallucinated Phoenix micro, which I don't think I've ever said before in my life, is not great out of -0. So he just still hasn't seen any expansion bases out of Avocados. Again, expiring before he gets across the map. So as far as -0 things, it's still one base on one base.
Okay, defending on top of the ramp again. Avocado's going to try and blitz that. The Prism does not save the Immortal, unfortunately, so it's all on the Stalkers now, pretty much. There's that Colossi popping out, though. Like, this is a terrible situation for -0. Avocados is 4 bases, 63 workers. But there's always a chance with it being -0.
Yeah, and being ranged Colossi versus bio with nothing else. That is one of those units that can, like, possibly never die. But, like, if we can see the vision of -0, like, I'm pretty sure he's still... Okay, no, he's seen everything. We missed
Okay,
the
we are
Phoenix.
getting a Nexus.
Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, there's that hallucinated Phoenix seeing the units there.
Okay,
Keeping
I must
them
have missed
busy.
the Phoenix at some point. Yeah, yeah, that's nice.
If we get a second Colossus from -0, it could... There is a world in which it just kites bio forever.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And he's got the gas for it.
Yeah, I don't think 1 is enough if it can get up a second, but it won't have 2 for this upcoming fight. Where's its army? Oh, it's out of position. And yeah, -0 is very out of position for this fight. The Colossus can just kite, but the bio is diving and kind of splitting, so we see that nice retreat behavior from -0. The Nexus is going to be saved. It's going to be close.
There's a lot of firepower there.
There is, yeah, more units are coming in. Oh, it's a cancel. -0 fires up an Immortal upon that being canceled. 10 Marines at a time are being produced by Avocados. It's got a ridiculous mineral bank. As -0 holds on one base.
I think it's a matter of time at this point. Maybe if -0 got a 2-base economy going. And honestly, he probably doesn't even have a 1-base economy going right now.
Oh yeah,
I'm gonna
it's
guess
totally
he's down to 4 patches.
Gonna be
now.
mined
Yeah,
out soon.
down to 4 patches, yeah.
There's a Nexus.
He does have distance mining programmed in, which is nice. It helps.
Yeah, and that has won -0 games in the past, but yeah, I think the only way it wins is if it gets up to 3 Colossus, and the math just ain't mathing in regards to it wanting to build probes and zealots and everything else in this just absolute, I don't know, madhouse of a game.
Yeah, like, if you tell your bot, like, it wants to build 5 different things, but it's broke, it's probably never going to build the expensive one, right? Because it can build the 4 other things first. And I think that's kind of the case right now. He will have, like, what is that, +3 on the way for his
+2.
Colossi? That would be too huge. No, +2.
Yeah, Avocados already has 2/2 done. So we'll see. Can -0 somehow leash Avocados? Doesn't look like it, as the Protoss bot has no option but to fall back to its Nexus, which, if the army somehow survives, the Nexus probably won't. -0 is cornered. The Prism has got the precious Colossus cargo inside, but that is not going to be enough. It was a slow death, unfortunately, but -0 does fall.
Yeah, well done by Avocados. You can tell it's a new bot, but he's done certain things really well. Like he's got the macro, he's got the expanding, he's got the really good micro on his bio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did look at a couple of its games recently. I don't think I ended up casting any of them, but like the one glaring thing right now is just the mineral gas, because it has had like 3,000 minerals and no gas there.
Yeah. I mean, are we going to see it? So it's 2-0 for Avocados here, guys. We are one map away from what would be the biggest upset in SC2 tournament history, probably. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I mean, that's the advantage of being an active author, right? He's out there practicing his best, putting up, trying different ideas, trying on the ladder versus the -0, queuing up games, and yeah, -0's author is not doing anything similar.
All
Yeah.
right.
It's very one-sided in terms of one bot being better than another, and very one-sided for the other bot being more actively programmed for the tournament specifically than the other. It's definitely not like Tier and Zozo where they're like mind gaming each other because they're both being very secretive with their games and stuff.
Yeah.
-0 is an open book, and Avocados got lots of practice against that.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, we are one map away from Avocados booking a place in the semi-finals, or possibly a big comeback from -0. We don't yet. So
Yep.
let's take a look at game number 3.
And here's the thing: all -0 has to do is expand at the start of the game, and it's like 100% game over. The fact that he sees those 3 barracks, he correctly doesn't expand, but he could have, because Avocados doesn't use those barracks to actually do a timing attack. All right, so Avocados is here spawning down in the bottom right. Once again, you got a vertical spawn map here on torches. So in the top right, we have -0. Because if you wanted to do, say, a perfect timing attack when Avocados goes, you would do like a 1 racks expansion, probably take your gas before you take a 2nd racks. You know, so like barracks, gas, expand, and only then add more barracks.
Yeah, this
but
is
if
not...
-0 scouted that, -0 would expand himself. But instead, -0 sees 3 barracks, no gas, no orbital, and says, "Oh crap, he's going to come any second now. Let me just set on 1 base." And then Avocados doesn't come, right? So it's either like
this is
mind gaming build or an inefficient build that tricks -0.
Yeah, it's the author doing just a build to kill -0, not necessarily the most logical progression.
Well, maybe not. Like, maybe he was just like a 3 racks all in, and then he's decided to like make that in a 2-base build, and this is the way he came up with doing a 2-base build. He just kind of added another base and delayed the attack, but didn't change the 3 racks opener.
Oh yeah, it's a valid strategy. Like any bot that scouts, 3 racks is going to set off a red flag, potentially cause an overreaction, and then Avocados, which does eventually expand and has the bio, which is viable until like the late game, is yeah, just in a good position. So
yeah, because I'd say the majority of bot authors don't actually play StarCraft 2, or not at a high level at least. So but they do build, they do create their own bots, and it's bots and have like had to build things in a certain order, and so I would like, it would not surprise me if this is not a mind game, but it's just what he came up with, because he's making his own build orders. And honestly, even people play StarCraft 2 all the time. If they had to make their own build orders, they'd probably be pretty bad. Most people is like, what's Maro doing? Okay, I'll do what Maro's doing.
Yeah, there's well, yeah, like if you ever queue up against someone on the ladder who's not playing like a pro gamer build, you're like, what is this guy doing? Doesn't he know? And there's definitely been times where you'll play and you'll be like, this guy must know something that I don't because this doesn't make sense. And sometimes people are just doing non-optimized builds. Now, Avocados is just powering up on the one base still.
Yeah, I mean, this is looking great for Avocados. Like, I'm like with Tier and Zozo, where I'm thinking, well, maybe if this happened, maybe if that happened. In this case, like, if -0 doesn't get its 2-base economy at least, I don't see any possible way for him to win. He can maybe win a fight, but he's just going to lose the follow-up fights because he's going to be facing a bot that has more economy. Maybe if -0 like overwhelmingly wins the first fight, then he'll push across the map for victory, something like that. But
yeah,
okay,
like
Phoenix will get the early scout this time, so he's going to get the expansion as early as possible. That does time to go to the third end to the natural. Yeah. So doing the natural, and he sees it while during production. Okay. So this is best case scenario for -0. In all the previous games, he did not scout the expansion that early. Yeah. So he's going to maybe get that 2-base economy I was talking about. Oh, this is a good choice as well.
This is the
if you see your opponent,
if you're
if you're building nothing but army and you realize your opponent expanded, just go win the game. This is very PvP like, I guess.
Yeah, now there is a high marine count for Avocados, but -0 is going to try. There's Marauders, Stim Pack, but -0 has got some darn good micro as one of the stalkers does go down on the retreat. Avocados pushes down. -0 is fanning those stalkers out, able to get damage done. Looks like Avocados' aggressive bio and high supply takes an okay trade at first, but now it's down in army supply.
Yeah, he did have Stim, and army supply is doesn't matter as much because
a lot
of that supply had like 2 hit points, so he just like instantly lost like 10 supply there. Yeah, so the Stim helped a lot there, so it wasn't as overwhelming as I thought it would be, but yeah, this is going to be nice. And this is where Immortals actually shine as well, when the army counts are really small.
Yeah, here I was watching this and I'm like, oh, okay, -0 will expand. We'll get to see how the game plays out with an early expansion. I did not expect this, as -0, I think, probably just wins this.
Yeah. And that was a really smart decision. Like, I thought when he scouted that, I'm like, okay, he can expand too and just be a little bit behind, which is great for -0. But -0 was like, no, I got an even better idea. I caught that he expanded, and I've had nothing but army. Let me go win the game, because he spent 400 minerals there. I did it.
Yeah, and it's crazy just how much of a difference that makes. Avocados, like, it did have an okay early fight, because, like, the supplies were very even, but then once it went down the ramp and was way too far out, -0 was able to just take those nice gateway trades against not enough bio supply.
There we go. We got a match.
Yeah.
Okay, so like, is this series going to be decided on the hallucinated Phoenix?
I don't know, but
that's what it kind of feels like. I don't think that's ever been the case for any StarCraft match ever.
we got a series though. -0 on the comeback trail. It's going to be tough, but we could see a fun comeback here. It's all depends on when that Phoenix gets across the map.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll be watching for that in the next game.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one is, you can't get any better than that for -0. That's going to be his best game no matter what, because that Phoenix arrived right when the command center was like 20 seconds into making. So
yeah. That's good.
So in previous matches, it was like done. It was already an orbital. It already started mining. So at least, so even if he did attack, I mean, the Avocados would have gotten some benefit out of the natural base by that point.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's have a look at game number 4.
Okay, up 2-1. We have Avocados standing down the bottom right of pylon A. Meanwhile, -0 is going to be in the opposite corner as the blue Protoss. So maybe slower, like a quick rush distance in the last map too, being vertical spawns helped -0 as well. But yeah, it's been weird in the previous matches where it's like the Phoenix is always getting zoned out by like these random Marines that are out on the map. I don't catch like why they're out there to begin with, but however they get there, they like shoo the Phoenix away and keep it from scouting the all important information of the expansion.
Yeah. That definitely seems to be the biggest factor in these games. We'll have to explore that pathing a little bit more.
Yeah. It does hurt me to let this. It always hurts me to see the orbital not placed right away.
Oh, for what it's worth, there's a couple bots on the ladder that simply just like never. They've got expanding behavior built in, but they still don't take orbitals.
Yeah, I can see why it's so common. Where it's like, my command center needs to build SCVs, and it also needs to build an orbital, right? So all of a sudden, my command center is now idle, and I got 97 minerals. Well, I can't afford an orbital, so let me make another SCV. And then it just never hits 150 minerals. I think Dominion Dog is another bot like that, where like he'll go like 5, 10, sometimes 15 minutes before he builds an orbital. It all depends on when he actually gets 150 minerals banked up. Probe actually might die before it gets out. Okay, yeah, it does. Nice little pickup there. I guess it always dies, so I don't think -0 sends it home. So yeah, we're going to see the same Stalker Immortal 1 base build out of -0 as a response to seeing an all-in, and Avocados not actually going all-in and instead taking a late expansion.
There's that sentry on the way.
I guess another factor in the last game too is Avocados had the most important upgrade of Stim, but he also had +1 in combat shield that were not completed. When Avocados decides when to attack, he always has those upgrades available.
Yeah.
He times his attack for those upgrades. But when -0 forces the fight early, all of a sudden those really important upgrades aren't there. Now, Stim is probably more important than combat shield and +1 combined, but those are still 2 powerful upgrades, so it really helps.
They definitely are. There's that Marine moving out. And yeah, we'll see how this times out, whether that sentry does have the hallucination run into the Marine or not. It's going to be close whether they run into each other, and it could be a game-deciding thing. Yeah, the Marine and the Phoenix are locked together, although the Phoenix could path out of range because of the airspace, so it does continue on its merry way, and it should see that expansion.
Yep, so this should be good for -0 then, right? He's going to be just like the previous game. Maybe scouting it a second later because of that, but yeah, catching that command center very early in the process. And what's the play here for -0? Does he expand? He's not actually moving to the low ground even with his army, so...
Huh. Yeah, the timings are a little different, so no immediate move out.
Maybe the Immortal he's waiting for?
It looks like, yeah, it's building an expo. Okay, the Stalkers are moving down now that the expo was placed.
Okay,
and so there we go.
Doing both. His attacking play is also expanding.
Looks like, yeah, the Stalkers are staying at home though.
Oh, okay, no. He's just taking the ramp as the choke point. I kind of like that actually.
I really am curious as to like what is the deciding factor for that move out or not.
Yeah, I think last time he didn't see the entire army for Avocados, and this time he did. So maybe he's like, okay, that's too much bio for me. Even though it's probably the same amount of bio. The last time he only saw half of it, so he's like, okay, I can take that. But yeah, this is the response I expected -0 to take last game, and I still think this response is good as well. he's got the expansion down so much earlier than game 1 and game 2, so I think you'll see some benefits out of that expo before Avocados does his huge timing attack.
Yeah, we base it off the timing on the +1. We still have a ways to go before such a move out.
Yeah, but it's still scary. Avocados engaging at the time he wants to fight is still going to be very difficult for -0, because all those 3 upgrades are so powerful.
This could be like game number 1.
The Twilight Council is also an interesting choice where he doesn't really use it per se. I haven't seen him use Blink, or I guess he could use it for the +2 upgrade, just as a prerequisite. Okay, so here comes the army. If he gets off like a nice volleys of shots, well, with a high ground advantage, that could be helpful. But this looks very bad for -0. He does have the economy up stronger than game 1 and game 2, but oh no, he's going to low ground. Oh my gosh. Okay, this is not great.
Oh, the army's, yeah, horribly split.
But kind of wasting that first stim. Like,
yeah.
Only not all the units stimmed. So
pulling the bio apart and baiting out stims is a way forward for -0.
Yeah, kind of like a 360 surround here for -0.
Really being leashed, and now -0 kind of has a high ground, but there's a good stim from Avocados pushing forward. -0's got stalkers that are too afraid to get near that bio as well, and yeah, there's no core backbone for the Protoss, like no zealots or anything.
Yeah, once again we have the Colossus upgrade without any Colossus. Yeah, so did get the expansion done earlier, got some money out of it, but that only really, you know, probably didn't even pay for itself, honestly. New base will get spotted. The other thing is too, like, Avocados is slowly killing himself as well. Every time he sees a stalker, he'll re-engage that stim, because he's stimmed. He doesn't stim everything at once, but the units he does stim, like, that's permanent damage. But Avocados looking good on the other side of the map as well.
Yeah,
taking his third base.
Like, yeah, there's not much of a chance for -0, unfortunately.
Like with all the bio this week, if he just gets that one Colossus, you're gonna be like swipe kills like 5 Marines at a time. But yeah, looks like he's gonna lose his natural yet again. We'll get the cancel so he gets his money back. But yeah, there's still a gigantic bio force. It's not just these 5, there's another 20 units about to arrive.
Yeah, that cancels the Nexus, fires up a Colossus maybe, but
and honestly, the fight went so bad for -0. I think literally 90% of the damage done to Avocados is from stim, not from these stalkers.
It's true, yeah. Like, -0 did a good job leashing the bio around for a long time, but it's just not going to be able to save itself.
But the Verbo is dead. And there you have it. Nice little upset and well done by Avocados. What he does very well.
That's just crazy.
And yeah, I think -0 is kind of... He's had it easy in the TVP matchup. He's had like these dumb Terran bots like mine that love the mech. He hasn't had to deal with how powerful Stim Bio is, especially before you have splash damage. You got to take that really strong defensive stance, and
yeah. Congrats to the author of Avocados.
Yeah,
we'll see. Maybe they can win the whole thing.
What a crazy upset. I did not see that one coming, to be fair. Like, I thought -0 would be the favorite for the tournament, #1 ranked bot. So, yeah, absolutely insane, insane upset. Well done to Avocados by Axiom, and yeah, it's pretty crazy.
They'll play versus Benbot now. In the round of 4. So, who knows? I don't know how that one goes necessarily. So,
okay.
Benbot's definitely more willing to take a defensive stance than -0 will say.
Yeah, No,
And
absolutely.
Benbot commits to the low ground as well, so there's no threat he'll scout and stay on one base, something like that, which could be good or bad for him.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll see. So let's have a look at the semi-final lineup. It will be Benbot BC up against Avocados and Eris up against Zozo in the semi-finals. So that should be a fun tournament coming up.
I don't think I can pick either of those matches. Nothing
know.
jumps out as like obvious. Zozo's definitely a bot that can beat Eris.
Yeah.
So Eris isn't as invulnerable as it's been in all this previous weeks. And
that'll be a great match, I think, just because the author of Eris, like, they lost to Zozo 2 tournaments ago. They did counter work, and were able to take down Zozo in the last tournament, I think. And now we've got maybe Zozo's author swinging back, as we saw. They did put in great work against Tyr. And so, yeah.
And Benbot will absolutely slaughter Avocados in the late game, but can you get there against this strong timing attack? I'm actually shocked that no Terran bot authors has really done this in the past. Like when you think of Terran cheese, this in general, you just think of like stim bio all in, stim bio timing attack, stim bio pull SCVs. But no one ever does that in the bot meta. We do like bunker contains and proxy racks without stim, or banshee cheese. We don't do like the bread and butter of Terran, which is like Marines plus stim. That's always been like classically what Terran's been best at.
We have had bots like that. Just the only one that really comes to mind is GPT, which did like 1 base, 2 base timing attacks that forced authors to update. But yeah, Avocados is bringing it sort of bigger and better. And I really like the scaling to go up to 4. Well, take all the bases on the map basically. And
yeah, his scaling is great, and his micro is great. I don't have like any complaints on either of them. His opening build order seems weird, but I think that's also why he beat -0, because it tricked to -0 into staying on 1 base. And obviously he's not as complex. He doesn't have like the late game. Obviously, like Medivacs might be like step 2, or maybe the next step for this bot in its evolution. But what it does do is amazing. So I could see him going through this whole tournament and taking it down.
Yeah. It's already been a great run, regardless of their results. So,
yeah, no, it's been a great tournament for Avocados. Axiom, congratulations. We will be back with the semi-finals and finals next week. So it should be a really fun cast. You guys are both up for it?
Of course, yeah.
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
I wouldn't miss it.
Awesome. Well, thanks everyone for watching. Thank you very much for staying up late for us, and not so late if it's in the other side of the world. But thank you very much for staying with us through a very long cast. Thanks, Nothing Games and Kedrock.
Well, thank you, Crypt, for observing and running things as usual and putting the tournament together. We'll see you guys next week.
All right. Catch you next